Chapter 115. Mother Lin put away the 100 yuan on the table and looked at Lin, who was in a daze. She immediately scolded. "Stupid girl, are you interested in him?" No. No. Lin's face turned red, and she quickly shook her head. I'm telling you, absolutely not. I definitely won't agree to this kind of boy, who only has a bit of brute force and no money. You better give up on this idea as soon as possible. Mother Lin glared at Lin and warned. Oh. Lin nodded woodenly and started to pack up. Redhead entered a public restroom and spent a lot of effort to remove the noodle bowl from his head. Then, he used the tap water to wash away the noodle soup on his head. As for this broken bowl, Redhead didn't even think about returning it. Xiao Chun was obviously cheating him, so how could he refund the deposit? Moreover, even if he found Xiao Chun, it wouldn't be as simple as returning the bowl. He would kill him. Not to mention that he didn't spend the fake money. He even lost 100 yuan in real money. Redhead was very depressed. After leaving the public restroom, he once again looked for his next target. A thief never leaves empty-handed. As a swindler, he had the same logic. If he went back without making a profit, he would be very unhappy. Of course, if he wanted to make a move again, he couldn't choose a place that was too close to the previous one. After such a big incident, the small merchants and peddlers nearby also came to watch the show. If he went to swindle them again, it wouldn't be easy for him to succeed. Everyone was on guard against him, so who could be swindled? He prepared to find a place further away to make his move. After walking for a distance, he suddenly found a stall selling youtiao. There were many people here, and there was an endless stream of people eating. Moreover, there was only one person there. According to Redhead's past experience, this was the best place to make a move. Because in these kinds of popular stalls, the stall owner didn't have time to carefully distinguish the authenticity of the money, so he had the opportunity to take advantage of it. After choosing his target, Redhead pretended as if nothing had happened and went to the youtiao stall. He stood in the middle of the queue, and this youtiao stall was the one that Xiao Chun was at. Xiao Chun went to eat noodles, leaving Tang Tang alone. When it was Red Hair's turn, he handed Tang Tang 100 yuan. Tang Tang wanted to check if the money was real, but she was interrupted by Red Hair. Which is better, tofu pudding or soybean milk? They're all delicious. The tofu pudding is new in the last 2 days. It's also good. Tang Tang was interrupted by him and forgot to check the authenticity of the money. Oh, give me 5 yuan worth of fried dough sticks and a bowl of tofu pudding. I'll eat here. Red Hair said. Just give me change later. Give me food first, I'm starving to death. Okay, wait a moment. Tang Tang threw the money into the money box and prepared to weigh the fried dough sticks for Red Hair. After all, he was the only one working here, and it was easy for him to forget some things. Seeing Tang Tang put away the money, Red Hair breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It went well this time. However, as he was feeling proud, he suddenly felt someone patting his shoulder from behind. Red Hair was stunned and turned around. He almost peed his pants. Are you looking for me to return the bowl? Xiao Chun looked at Red Hair and asked faintly. Ugh, why are you here? Red Hair didn't expect Xiao Chun to follow him here. He was really haunting him. This is my stall. Why can't I be here? Xiao Chun didn't hide it. He said this because he meant that if Red Hair wasn't convinced in the future, he could come here to look for him. He didn't have to look for Lin. This is your stall. Red Hair almost knelt down. My luck is so good that it came to me on its own initiative. I was almost beaten to death by Xiao Chun when I lied to others. If I lied to Xiao Chun, wouldn't I be killed? A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Red Hair turned around and wanted to leave. Your fried dough sticks. Tang Tang finished weighing the fried dough sticks. She looked up and saw that Xiao Chun was back, and that Red Hair was about to leave. She was a little confused. Are you going to have fried dough sticks? I don't want them. Red Hair said subconsciously. You don't want them? Are you here to fool around with me? You want them and you don't want them anymore? Xiao Chun grabbed Red Hair's hair and pulled him back. At this time, some customers came over from the crowd. They also recognized Red Hair and Xiao Chun and began to discuss. Those who didn't know and thought that Xiao Chun was bullying customers knew the inside story now. So no one sympathized with Red Hair. I want them. Red Hair grimaced in pain. He turned around and was afraid that Xiao Chun would flip out. So he quickly said to Tang Tang, I didn't pay just now, right? I'll settle the bill after we finish eating. You didn't pay? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. You did. Didn't you pay 100 yuan? You didn't pay. Red Hair said firmly. Then this is. Tang Tang said. She picked up the 100 yuan on the top of the money box. She was about to say something. But when she took a closer look, she found the problem. The banknote was fake. Fake money. That's not mine. I haven't paid yet. Red Hair subconsciously looked at Xiao Chun. Seeing that Xiao Chun didn't have the intention to beat him, he quickly denied it. At this time, the onlookers understood that Red Hair came to spend fake money. He was seen through, so he didn't dare to admit it. Okay, hurry up and eat. Xiao Chun pushed Red Hair to the table and placed the fried dough sticks in front of him. Then he asked Tang Tang, what else does he want? A bowl of tofu pudding, Tang Tang said. I'll get it for him. You continue to serve the others. As Xiao Chun said this, he went to get a bowl of tofu pudding for Red Hair, but he directly poured half a can of chili powder into it. Then, he directly put it in front of Red Hair. I saw that you like to eat chili, so I specially made a bowl of added ingredients for you. You don't have to thank me. Eat it. Eat more? Red Hair almost cried. Those chili peppers had almost killed him. If he were to eat these, he would have a stomach bleed. However, he couldn't not eat it. It would be even more uncomfortable if Xiao Chun forced it into his mouth. Red Hair had no choice but to pinch his nose and eat it. His original intention was to pretend to eat a few bites and then leave. But now he had no choice but to eat seriously. However, he just ate a bowl of noodles before. How could he have such a big appetite? Now he was forcing it into his mouth. You seem to have a big appetite. I can give you another bowl of soy milk for free. As Xiao Chun said this, he filled another bowl of soy milk for Red Hair and put it aside. Then he added 2 spoonfuls of chili oil. Red Hair looked at such a big bowl of red soy milk and almost vomited. If I pour it into my mouth, will it come back out directly from my throat? Originally, Red Hair wanted to sneak away after eating half. But who would have thought that when he looked up, he could see Xiao Chun's smiling devil's face. So, he could only lower his head and force himself to pour it into his mouth. When he finally finished eating, Red Hair forced himself not to vomit. He was afraid that if he vomited, Xiao Chun would find an excuse to mess with him again. He could only cover his mouth and take out 100 yuan from his wallet. He put it on the table and turned to leave. However, he was pulled back by Xiao Chun before he could take 2 steps. Big brother, is there anything else? Red Hair raised his head, afraid that he would vomit on Xiao Chun. Your change, Xiao Chun said. No need. Goodbye. Red Hair turned around and left. Xiao Chun saw that Red Hair was on the verge of vomiting. He was afraid that Red Hair would vomit here, so he didn't make it difficult for him. Sure enough, Red Hair didn't walk far before he squatted on the side of the road and vomited. Red and white things spurted out. One was because of the spiciness, and the other was because he ate too much, so it was overflowing. You who sold youtiao, just you wait. Wah, if I don't mess with you, I won't be Red Hair. Red Hair secretly swore in his heart while vomiting. After Red Hair left, Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chun strangely. How do you know him? How do you know that he spent fake money? I was almost fooled by him. I was going to eat noodles just now, and I saw him using fake money to cheat people. Xiao Chun said as he began to pack up. It was almost time to go to school. Is he the one who cheated the noodles? Tang Tang didn't expect it to be so coincidental. That's the one. Xiao Chun nodded. That Lin's noodles was opened by my former classmate Lin. I used to pursue her, and it made me quite embarrassed. No way. I was wondering why she didn't see you even once after coming here several times. Is she deliberately avoiding you? Tang Tang was a little surprised. You pursued her? But she is indeed very beautiful. And she is not weaker than your goddess. But the difference between your backgrounds. Actually, it's just a joke. Xiao Chun said that he saved Lin once. And then he was afraid that others would harass her. so he deliberately said that he wanted to pursue her. It turns out to be like this. In that case, Lin is grateful to you. I know. She must have seen you selling youtiao here. And then she thought that you were living in poverty. She wanted to buy some to help you the day before yesterday, but she didn't expect our youtiao to be so delicious. After she went back, her mother asked her to continue to buy more. Tang Tang suddenly thought of the key. The day before yesterday, she thought our youtiao couldn't be sold, so we gave her more. She didn't feel anything, but it was different yesterday and today. I say, but after such an incident, she probably won't come again. Xiao Chen shook his head. Although Xiao Chen still had a trace of affection for Lin in his heart, it was just appreciation for a beauty. Now his life was gradually drifting away from her, and there would be no more intersection. Why? Xiao Chen, listening to your tone, you sound a little disappointed? Tang Tang teased. Chapter 116. I don't think so. If I were the old Xiao Chen, it would be possible for me to pursue her. But now, I am still living under someone else's roof. If I get a girlfriend, where will I live? Xiao Chen shrugged and said, I say, young Master Xiao, your thoughts are not pure. Do you want to live with a girlfriend? Tang Tang joked after listening. Xiao Chen's face suddenly turned red. He was just influenced by others, and thought that he should live with a girlfriend. But in fact, he was still a virgin. I just said it casually. Would you believe it if I said that I have never had a girlfriend before? Who would believe it? I have heard of your reputation from far away, Xiao Chen. Tang Tang curled her lips. Obviously, she did not believe Xiao Chen's words. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Was his image that bad before? It seemed that his disguise was quite successful. But why did someone still target him after he succeeded? Lu Zhiming was not a big deal in Xiao Chen's eyes. What troubled Xiao Chen most was that invisible big hand. Was it a person, a group of people, or an organization? Was it a coincidence that his father disappeared? Or was there something related to it? As soon as he arrived at the school, Xiao Chen received a text message from Miss Jean. Jingxian and Chen Jinping will come to ask me and Beibei to go out to play tonight. Will you come? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Chen Jinping had just been tricked. Did he come to ask for trouble again? However, it did not matter whether he went or not. Chen Jinping could not do anything to Miss Jean and Beibei. Instead, Xiao Chen was very worried about Chen Jinping's safety. I won't go, Xiao Chen replied. He planned to go to the pharmacy to buy medicine tonight. Soon, Miss Jin's text message came again. Beibei said that he wants you to go back with him tonight. His grandpa is looking for you. Old Master Jean is looking for me? Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that he had promised Old Master Jean to treat him. He was so busy at home that he forgot about it. However, since he had promised, he had to do it. So he replied, Okay, but I have to go home to get some medicine first. As soon as Xiao Chen pressed the send button, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and found it was Chen Jinping. It surprised Xiao Chen a little, but he still picked up the phone. Little brother, what do you want to talk to your boss? Here's the thing. My new boss, Chao Yuliang, is going to invite you, my old boss, to dinner tonight. Jingxian is going too. She also invited Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei. Do you want to come with us? Chout. Liang. Does this guy feel that he has lost his face in front of Shen Jingxian after being tricked by Jean Beibei last time? So, he invites Chao Yuliang to humiliate me tonight. However, Xiao Chen had planned to go. Now that Chen Jinping invited him, he was not in a hurry to agree. Instead, he said, Pengzi, I have to make money tonight. You know, I'm very short of money now. Cheng Minjing doesn't pay me. I have to make money by myself. I plan to go to the night market tonight. Chen Jinping didn't expect that Xiao Chen would say so. He had given Xiao Chen enough face on the phone before. According to Xiao Chen's arrogant character, he would definitely agree. Unexpectedly, he wanted to set up a stall. It seemed that time was a butcher's knife. Even the most awesome child had to lower his head in the face of poverty. If he had seen Xiao Chen lower his head in the past, he would have been very happy. But today, it was Chao Yuliang who ordered him to invite Xiao Chen. If he couldn't accomplish the task, how could he explain it to Chao Yuliang? Last time, when Chen Jinping lost his car and went back in Chao Yuliang's car, They talked about Xiao Chun on the way back. When they mentioned that Xiao Chun came to dinner with Cheng Minjing, Chen Jinping said that Xiao Chun was living in his own fantasy and was fooled by Jin Beibei. Chao Yuliang didn't take it seriously. However, after Chao Yuliang went back, he felt that something was wrong the more he thought about it. Jin Beibei was famous for being mean to the childs of the aristocratic families. How could she be in the mood to fool around with Xiao Chun? If she were to fool around with Xiao Chun, she would have killed Xiao Chun a long time ago. Just like Chen Jinping, he lost his car after one dinner, but Xiao Chun was still intact? Of course, Chao Yuliang couldn't rule out the possibility that Jin Beibei wanted to keep Xiao Chun around for fun. However, Chao Yuliang just couldn't be reassured. He wanted to personally invite Xiao Chun and Jin Beibei out to take a look. He wanted to see if Jin Beibei was really fooling around with Xiao Chun, or if there was something fishy going on between the two of them. Pengzi, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I just finished the morning market and have to go to class, Xiao Chun said impatiently. Wait, how could Chen Jinping let Xiao Chun hang up? He said hurriedly. Xiao Chun, how much money can you make in the night market? Oh, when it's good, it should be around 100,000 or 80,000 yuan, right? Xiao Chun said. 100,000 or 80,000 yuan. Chen Jinping was stunned. How could he make so much money? But then he realized that Xiao Chun wanted to trick him. Damn it. This guy has been with Jin Beibei for a long time. Although he didn't learn anything else, he was quite good at tricking people. Xiao Chun, 80,000 or 80,000 yuan in the night market. That's not impossible. For example, the youtiao I made was delicious, and a rich person ate it. It's very possible that he would tip me 100 or 80,000. Xiao Chun said seriously. Chen Jinping's mouth twitched. Tipped you? Do you want me to vote for you once more? Chen Jinping had been reading a novel called Campus Belle's Bodyguard these days, so he knew about tipping and monthly tickets. But he couldn't say it. If he said it, Xiao Chun would be angry and stop coming, and he would be screwed. He had no choice but to say, Xiao Chun, why don't you come? I'll give you 100,000 yuan as a gift from me. Oh, but you know, if I don't open the stall today, those customers can't find me, and they won't come next time. Closing the stall will hurt the customers, Xiao Chun said in a bitter tone. How about 150,000 yuan? Chen Jinping curled his lips and thought. Now Xiao Chun is so down and out. 150,000 yuan is not a small amount, but it's nothing for Xiao Chun in the past. Okay, I'll do you a favor. I'll ask Tang Tang to open the stall, and I'll earn some appearance fees, Xiao Chun said reluctantly. Damn it. If Tang Tang goes to open the stall, how can you hurt the customers? Appearance fees? Do you think you're a big star? But since Xiao Chun agreed to come, Chen Jinping didn't want to make trouble, so he just said, see you tonight. Will you come with Cheng Minjing and the others? I'll see, Xiao Chun said. Okay, Xiao Chun, I won't bother you. With that, Chen Jinping hung up the phone, cursed Xiao Chun's treachery and greed, and hurried to report to Chao Yuliang. The day passed quickly. When school was over, Xiao Chun and Jin Beibei borrowed a car and went home to get the medicine. In fact, they went to the pharmacy to buy some medicinal materials on the way. Anyway, they had to wait for Shin Jingxian and the others at the school gate for a while, so they were not in a hurry. Xiao Chun parked the car in front of the pharmacy and walked into the pharmacy. Hong Yin looked up and saw Xiao Chun, wrinkling her nose at him. Obviously, she was on guard against Xiao Chun, who read romance novels Jin Pingmei. Seeing Hong Yin, Xiao Chun didn't have the enthusiasm in the past, and he didn't know what he did to provoke her, but he still said politely, I'm here to buy medicine. Is the old grandpa here? Oh grandpa, someone is looking for me. Hong Yin picked up the book and continued to read, ignoring Xiao Chun. Grandpa Chun came out from the back. Seeing Xiao Chun, he nodded to him. He was used to the frequency of Xiao Chun's visit every 2 or 3 days. What medicine do you want this time? The same medicine as last time, Xiao Chun said. The same medicine as last time, but this time, I can't sell it at the same price. It's too cheap, and I can't explain it to the boss at the headquarters. Grandpa Chun said, this time, I can only give you a 50% discount and charge you 500,000 yuan. What? 500,000 yuan? Xiao Chun was shocked. He thought that the 1.9 million yuan he had could support him for a long time. Who would have thought that a medicine with a 50% discount would cost 500,000 yuan? Next time, I probably won't even have a 50% discount, right? Why is it so expensive? It can't be that because I have become a regular customer, you want to slander me, right? Although Xiao Chun felt that this old grandpa looked kind, and he shouldn't be that kind of person, but as the saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. However, he had taken care of me many times before. Xiao Chun couldn't not buy it. Even if he wanted to go to other stores to inquire about the price, it was a matter for the future. Thinking of this, Xiao Chun gritted his teeth and took out his bank card. He said to Grandpa Chen, "Okay, thank you, Grandpa Chen. I will pay by card." "And, Yin Yin, you help him to pay by card. I will get the medicine for him." Grandpa Chen nodded and said, "Oh." After Hong Yin heard it, she put down the book. She found the POS machine reluctantly and handed it to Xiao Chun. She didn't forget to glare at him. "Swipe it. I say, Sister Yin Yin, right? How did I offend you?" Xiao Chun swiped the card and finally couldn't help but ask, "Who asked you to let me read those dirty books?" Hong Yin took back the POS machine and took out the receipt for Xiao Chun to sign. Ah, Xiao Chun was stunned. Then he remembered that Hong Yin mentioned Jean Ping Mei, which made him a little speechless. This chick's thoughts are complicated. She treats romance novels as Jean Ping Mei, and she still blames me? When Grandpa Chen heard Hong Yan's words, he couldn't help but laugh. He handed the medicine to Xiao Chun and said, "Young man, it's done. Here you go. And thank you, old grandpa. Then I will leave." Xiao Chun looked at Hong Yan's angry look. He really didn't know how to explain. After leaving the pharmacy, Xiao Chun went straight to the villa. When he returned home, he took some of the previous medicine dregs and put the newly bought medicine into the electric clay pot. After setting the time, he hurriedly left the villa. Chapter 117. However, on the way back to school, Xiao Chun found another pharmacy and planned to inquire about the price. This store also sold all kinds of medicinal materials. Xiao Chun handed the prescription to an old shopkeeper and asked, "Excuse me, do you have all these medicinal materials? Let me take a look." The old man took Xiao Chun's prescription, picked up his reading glasses, and looked at it carefully. But after reading it, he shook his head and said, "Who gave you this prescription? I know most of the herbs listed, but there are a few that I've never heard of before. Is there a mistake, or is there another name for them?" "What medicinal materials?" Xiao Chun asked quickly. "This is it. Bitter fruit, red sweet flower, water glossy Ganoderma. I have sold medicine for so many years, but I have never heard of these. Could it be that it was prescribed by a wandering doctor?" The old man looked at Xiao Chun suspiciously. "Moreover, the other medicinal materials are also great tonics. They are priceless. At your age, you don't have any diseases or disasters. Why do you want to eat these things?" Xiao Chun sighed in his heart. "I actually don't have them. It seems that the pharmacy I went to isn't an ordinary pharmacy. I didn't expect that I would find the right place. If I went to other pharmacies, I really couldn't buy these things." Looking at the old man's resolute tone, it didn't seem like he was lying. Moreover, there was no need for him to lie. So Xiao Chun continued to ask, "How much do the other medicinal materials cost?" "I don't have many of the other medicinal materials in stock. Moreover, with your quantity, these medicinal materials cost at least 300,000 yuan. Young man, did you get cheated?" The old man frowned and said, "Listen to me. You don't have to eat these. If you have a problem with your body, find a proper hospital to have a look. Most of those wandering doctors are liars." "Okay. Thank you, old man. I was just asking. Now it seems that it's really fake. It's just that my body is a little weak. This is also a prescription, given to me by someone else." Xiao Chun took back the prescription and nodded. However, he felt ashamed in his heart. These medicinal herbs that could be bought in the market were worth more than 300,000 yuan. And there were so many medicinal herbs that could not be bought. In this way, 1 million yuan for one medicinal herb was really not a high price, especially when they gave him a 50% discount. How could he still doubt them? After leaving the pharmacy, Xiao Chun sighed. He thought that the money would last him for a long time. But now it seemed that he would run out of money in a few days. Money, money, you murderous knife. Xiao Chun had never been so short of money. If he had known that he could cultivate when he was in the Xiao family, he believed that even if Cheng Minjing's uncle died, old Master Cheng would not easily break off the engagement, right? Of course, even if he broke off the engagement, the Xiao family would not drive him out of the family easily, would they? However, had it not been for the opportunity, Xiao Chun would not have met the elder heaven ancestor and embarked on the awesome path of cultivation. When Xiao Chun returned to school, he saw two cars next to Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe. One of them was a Porsche 991, and the other was an Audi A6L. Xiao Chun's eyelids twitched when he saw the cars. He had a vague memory of the car, but he did not know where he had seen it before. However, Audi A6L was a very common car. It was not strange that Xiao Chun had seen it before. The Porsche 991 was obviously Chen Jinping's. He was standing next to the car and talking to Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian did not interrupt, but simply listened to him with a smile. That was exactly her personality. She was always warm to everybody. Her sunny smile and her gentle tone did not betray her real thoughts. There was no telling whether or not she had accepted Chen Jinping. It was impossible for Xiao Chun not to care about the fact that his former goddess had become the fiancée of his former follower. However, some things had changed, and Xiao Chun was no longer the Xiao Chun in the past. Even if he killed Chen Jinping, the Shen family would still choose another family for Shen Jingxian to marry. Would he kill every family that appeared? Chao Yuliang, on the other hand, was talking to Cheng Minjing. Compared to Shen Jingxian, the lady's emotions were all written on her face. She looked at Chao Yuliang indifferently. Xiao Chun stopped the car. Jean Bebe shouted happily, "Cousin-in-law, you're here." Chao Yuliang couldn't help but frown when he heard the word cousin-in-law. However, he couldn't tell whether Jean Bebe was sincere or sarcastic. Because Jean Bebe's thoughts were too unpredictable. Xiao Chun nodded. At this moment, Chao Yuliang turned to look at Xiao Chun and said, "Xiao Chun, we've been fighting for so many years, but there's no clear winner. However, you were unexpectedly driven out of the family and lost the chance to compete with me for Cheng Minjing. What a pity." When Chao Yuliang said this, although he was looking at Xiao Chun, he was also looking at Cheng Minjing out of the corner of his eyes. He wanted to know what Cheng Minjing thought about Xiao Chun. However, it was a pity that the lady's face was still cold. This made Xiao Chun feel slightly relieved. Chao Yuliang was secretly observing Cheng Minjing. Wasn't he the same? If he gave himself away in front of his sworn enemy, and the Cheng family heard about it, it wouldn't be a joke. However, the lady's emotions were only on the surface. In front of outsiders, she didn't care about Xiao Chun at all. Even when Xiao Chun came, she just took a glance at him and didn't pay attention to him anymore. As for what Jean Bebe said, that was Jean Bebe's business. Practically no one dared to casually believe her words. "Don't talk about those useless things. Where's my appearance fee?" Chao Yuliang was about to say something to make Xiao Chun lower his guard against him. He wanted to see if there was anything fishy between Xiao Chun, Cheng Minjing, and Jean Bebe. However, he didn't expect that he would be interrupted by Xiao Chun directly. As a result, he couldn't say what he had prepared. He was very upset. "Give it to him." Chao Yuliang looked at Chen Jinping. "Here you are. This is a card worth 150,000 yuan. The password is 6 zeros. Chen Jinping handed a bank card to Xiao Chun. "Okay. Ask me to come out next time. Remember, the minimum appearance fee is 150,000 yuan. Xiao Chun put away the bank card in satisfaction and said. Chao Yuliang frowned. Xiao Chun was almost the same as the rumors said. He was still arrogant, but he had become greedy. However, it was normal. It was probably the first time that the young master of the Xiao family had tasted the feeling of being poor. It would be strange if he wasn't greedy. "Then can we go to eat now?" asked Chao Yuliang. "I don't have a problem with that. Why don't you ask them?" Xiao Chun pointed at Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe. When they were outside, he had to remember his identity as a servant, and did not dare to usurp the host's position. although he was in charge of Cheng Minjing's meals every day. Humph. Chen Jinping, are you looking down on me? Even my servants have appearance fees. Why don't I, the host, have them? Cheng Minjing hated Chen Jinping and Chao Yuliang. If it weren't for Shen Jingxian, she wouldn't have bothered to come out. Well, Chen Jinping felt like crying. What's wrong with these people being assimilated by Jin Beibei? Why are they so greedy for money? Chao Yuliang nodded slightly. Chen Jinping hurried to take out a bank card from his pocket and gave it to Cheng Minjing. Yes. How can I not have it? Haha, this is a 200,000 yuan card. The password is 6 zeros. It was the card that Chen Jinping had prepared to pay for the meal later. But he had given it away just like that. Only 200,000 yuan? It's not even enough to fill the gap between my teeth. Cheng Minjing took over the bank card and gave it to Xiao Chun without even looking at it. Take it. It's a reward from me. Thank you, miss. Xiao Chun hurried to take the card. He didn't expect that Cheng Minjing would give him money. What a surprise. However, it didn't matter even if the Cheng family learned about it. After all, it could be regarded as a way for Cheng Minjing to humiliate Xiao Chun. The corner of Chen Jinping's mouth twitched. Damn it. 200,000 yuan is still not enough. If you are not Shen Jingshuan's good friend and brother Liang's goddess, you can go if you want. Get the hell out of here. You have already spent more than 300,000 yuan before the meal. Nobody who is with Jin Beibei is a good person. Shall we go now? It's almost time. Chao Yuliang looked at his watch and said, Xiao Chen, are you going to take my car? Shen Jingxian would definitely take Chen Jinping's car. And Jin Beibei had a car. Even if Chao Yuliang wanted Cheng Minjing to take his car, it was impossible. I still need a driver. Xiao Chun, you drive. Cheng Minjing said as she pointed at Pamela. Oh, okay. Xiao Chun nodded. He was a bit resigned. Chao Yuliang wished he could exchange with Xiao Chun. It was a good opportunity to get close to his goddess. He didn't expect that Xiao Chun, a servant, would waste it. The place where they ate today was a northern restaurant. The specifications couldn't be said to be the most luxurious, but it was also very unique. There was a 3-story building with an independent parking lot in front of the door. It was also a well-known restaurant in this neighborhood. Most importantly, it was one of the properties of the Chao family and Chao Yuliang's territory. Chao Yuliang parked the car and waited for Chen Jinping, Shen Jingxian, Xiao Chun, Cheng Minjing, and Jin Beibei to get off the car. Then he entered the hotel with them. Young Master Chao, Young Master Chen, Miss Cheng, Miss Shun, and Miss Jin, welcome. The doorman directly ignored Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun had eaten here before. Therefore, it was impossible that the doorman didn't know him. However, the news that he was kicked out of the Xiao family had obviously spread out, especially in the hotel of the Chao family. Therefore, these people started to look down on him. However, Xiao Chun didn't care about that. When he was about to go in, Jin Beibei started to lose her temper. Hey you, why did you put me at the back? Do you mean that I'm worse than Chao Yuliang and Chen Jinping? I'm going to tell my grandpa that you are discriminating against the Jin family. You despise us. Chapter 118. The doorman greeted them according to Chao Yuliang's instructions. The ranking was also based on the overall strength of the families in Songning City. Of course, the reason why Cheng Minjing was placed behind Chao Yuliang and Chen Jinping was that although the Cheng family was the top family in Songning City, they were women. Therefore, it was not a problem for them to be placed behind according to the rules. Who would have thought that Jin Beibei would suddenly make things difficult for them? However, he could not afford to offend Jin Beibei, especially old Master Jin of the Jin family, who was famous for being unreasonable. If he came, the hotel would probably be razed to the ground, and there would be no place to reason with him. Who asked you to discriminate against the Jin family? Being pushed by someone, that person deserved to be unlucky. Chao Yuliang frowned. He did not want Jin Beibei to make things difficult for him. However, he was not stupid. It was impossible for him to be arrogant to be able to wrestle with the impersonator, Xiao Chun, over the years. He just smiled casually and said, Beibei, generally speaking, the last person to show up is the most important one. Look, in general, the last person to show up is the chairman. Oh, so you mean that I am the VIP, right? More honorable than you? Jean Bebe asked. Yes. Chow Yuliang nodded. Then why don't I have a diamond VIP card? Aren't you a VIP? You even have a diamond VIP card. Are you lying to me? Jean Bebe suddenly glared at Chow Yuliang and said angrily. Well, Chow Yuliang was very angry. It was a failure to bring Jean Bebe along. However, if he wanted to invite Cheng Minjing, she would not come without Jean Bebe. In order to please Cheng Minjing, he had to put up with it. The so-called Diamond VIP card was a VIP card of the highest level given by the Chow family. Those who came to eat here could enjoy the free treatment. The Chow family only gave such cards to some important partners and the outstanding disciples of the family. For example, Chow Yuliang was the heir of the Chow family. Naturally, he was qualified to have such a VIP card. He usually chose this place to treat his guests because he did not have to pay. However, he did not expect that he would be tricked by Jean Bebe before he even had his meal. Chen Jinping looked at Chow Yuliang sympathetically and thought, You mocked me for having my car stolen by Jean Bebe. What happened now? You were tricked, weren't you? Well, I'll give this card to you. You have it, but I don't. So you are of a higher level than me now, aren't you? Chow Yuliang gritted his teeth. He thought to himself that he could consider it a love investment. If he gave it to Jean Bebe, he would be giving it to Cheng Minjing in exchange for a good impression from her. That was better than anything else. It was just a card. With his position in the Chow family, it would not be difficult for him to get another one. That's more like it. Jean Bebe put the Diamond VIP card back and said proudly, Today Jean Bebe is treating us. Feel free to eat whatever you like. Who? Chow Yuliang took a deep breath and almost collapsed on the spot. You are treating us? However, he knew that if he infuriated Jean Bebe and the girl left with Cheng Minjing, all his efforts would be in vain. I didn't know that, Chow Yuliang. It's only been a few days since we last met, and you seem to be quite good at training yourself. Have you been watching a blockbuster recently? Xiao Chen glanced at Chow Yuliang mockingly. What blockbuster? Chow Yuliang was slightly dazed. The Ninja Turtle. Before Xiao Chen opened his mouth, Jean Bebe continued. Am I right, cousin-in-law? Let him figure it out on his own, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Chow Yuliang's face turned gloomy, not because Jean Bebe called him a Ninja Turtle, but because Jean Bebe had called him cousin-in-law. He knew that Jean Bebe might be playing tricks on Xiao Chen, just like how he had been tricked without him knowing. However, on second thought, what benefit could Jean Bebe get from playing tricks on Xiao Chen? Jean Bebe had tricked people a few times for her own benefit, such as Chen Jinping's car and his own Diamond VIP card. However, Xiao Chen was a poor guy. What benefit could he get? Therefore, Chow Yuliang did not know whether it was true or not. The more he thought about it, the more upset he felt. However, he could not say anything, fearing that Jean Bebe would play tricks on him again if he asked her. They went upstairs and entered the private room. However, what happened next made Chow Yuliang even more upset. After Jean Bebe sat down, she held the menu and asked Xiao Chen to order food. Cousin-in-law, look. This is delicious, said Jean Bebe. Yes. We ate this in the Azure Sea Palace last time. It's delicious. Xiao Chen nodded. Bebe, look. This looks delicious too. Yes. Let's order one too. Let's eat together later, said Jean Bebe. Okay. Let's order one too. Xiao Chen was more than happy to play dumb with Jean Bebe. He did not try to hide his relationship with Jean Bebe either, because it would be too unnatural. Cheng Minjing pretended that she did not care, but she was secretly frowning. Why is Xiao Chen acting exactly like Jean Bebe? Two gluttons and a money grubber. Xiao Chen had earned 150,000 for his appearance, and Jean Bebe had gotten a Diamond VIP card. However, what Cheng Minjing did not expect was that she had asked for 200,000 before. Seeing Xiao Chen's drooling face, Chen Jinping could not help but mock. Xiao Chen, why do you look like a hungry ghost? How many days has it been since you last ate? Chen Jinping, are you scolding me indirectly? Jean Bebe raised her head and bared her teeth at Chen Jinping. Well, Chen Jinping did not think of Jean Bebe at all. Now that he realized that he had offended Jean Bebe too, he immediately regretted his words. How could he have been so talkative? What AB asterisk TCH? He could only say with a smile. How could I? Well, you said you couldn't, but you must be thinking the same way, said Jean Bebe. Speaking of bickering, Chen Jinping was no match for Jean Bebe at all. Even if he and Chao Yuliang worked together, they wouldn't be able to do anything. He was immediately put out by Jean Bebe. What about you? Humph. While talking, Jean Bebe suddenly slapped her car key on the table. Right, Chen Jinping, I think your car is quite good. Why don't we swap cars? Swap cars? Chen Jinping was slightly dazed, but Jean Bebe did not pursue what had happened just now. It was exactly what he wanted. Besides, the Porsche Panamera had been modified, and the Porsche 991 had not been modified yet. It would be very worthwhile to swap cars. Thinking about that, Chen Jinping hurried to say, okay, let's do it. While talking, he gave the car key to Jean Bebe. Jean Bebe was rather straightforward this time. She gave her car key to Chen Jinping too. Seeing that Jean Bebe did not play any tricks this time, Chen Jinping was greatly relieved. After swapping cars, Jean Bebe seemed to be quite satisfied. She went to order food from Xiao Chen again. This time Chen Jinping had learned his lesson. He shut his mouth and did not dare to say anything. Chao Yuliang did the same. He had intended to test Xiao Chen, but he did not dare to open his mouth to test him. If he was wrong, he would be screwed. Very soon the dishes were served. They were all the dishes that Jean Bebe had ordered. However, Chao Yuliang and the rest of them were not really there to eat. She could order whatever she wanted. After the waiters left, Jean Bebe and Xiao Chen began to eat as if nobody else were there. Cousin-in-law, this dried pot is delicious. Jean Bebe placed the dried pot in front of her and Xiao Chen. Yes, it is indeed delicious. Xiao Chen nodded after eating. Bebe, the mushroom I ate just now was delicious too. Yes, the mushroom is delicious. After taking a bite, Jean Bebe's eyes narrowed into crescents. She picked up a prawn crawler and put it on Xiao Chen's plate. Cousin-in-law, this prawn crawler is delicious too. Let me have a taste. Xiao Chen picked it up and stuffed it into his mouth. It's delicious. Delicious. Chao Yuliang looked at Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe in a daze. Now, he was not convinced that Xiao Chen and Cheng Minjing were in a relationship. Although Jean Bebe called Xiao Chen her cousin-in-law, Cheng Minjing did not seem to care about Xiao Chen at all. Instead, she slightly frowned when she saw Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe. However, Chao Yuliang's concern came from Jean Bebe. Was there anything fishy going on between Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe? The two of them seemed to be very close. Was Jean Bebe really trying to trick Xiao Chen? It did not look like it. If the two of them were dating, Chao Yuliang would have believed it. However, his heart suddenly skipped a beat when he thought of the idea. No, he could not allow Xiao Chen to make a comeback. Absolutely not. Xiao Chen, how are you doing right now? Are you still in touch with the Xiao family? Chao Yuliang asked calmly. Not bad. Somebody often invites me to dinner. I feel that my life is even better than before. Before, I had to pay for my meals with my own money. Now somebody else pays for me, Xiao Chen said. The Xiao family? Not really. I saw my sister a couple of days ago, and was scolded by her. Chao Yuliang was dazed for a moment. Then he was more or less relieved. It seemed that the Xiao family's attitude toward Xiao Chen had not changed. It was a good thing. Now he had 3 pieces of information, some good and some bad. One was that Cheng Minjing and Xiao Chen did not seem to be in a relationship. They should not be a love story between a young lady and a servant. However, he was not very sure. 2 was that the relationship between Jean Bebe and Xiao Chen was a little special. He did not know whether Jean Bebe wanted to trick Xiao Chen, or make use of Xiao Chen. Or perhaps, both of them were greedy for money, so they fell in love with each other? The 3rd piece of information was more important. The Xiao family's attitude toward Xiao Chen had not changed. He could be sure of that. Chao Yuliang did not think that Xiao Chen would lie to him. The 3rd piece of information was really good news. Well, I haven't seen Xiao for a long time. Haha. By the way, Cheng Minjing, I heard that your brother Cheng Mingxiang wants to propose marriage to the Xiao family? Chao Yuliang looked at Cheng Minjing and said, Meng Chang likes Xiao Xiao. This surprised Cheng Minjing. Cheng Mingqiang's brother was not close to her, his cousin. Chapter 119. Although there was not much of a difference between the two of them, only a few years apart, Cheng Mingqiang seemed to be very scheming, which made it difficult for Cheng Minjing to get along with him. For so many years, other than talking during the holidays, it was actually very difficult for them to interact with each other. Cheng Mingqiang was the son of Cheng Minjing's second uncle, Cheng Zhongfan. I just heard about it. It seems that the marriage between the Cheng family and the Xiao family isn't over yet. Chao Yuliang was relieved to see that Cheng Minjing was just surprised. I haven't seen Xiao Xiao for a long time. Haha, by the way, Cheng Minjing, I heard that your brother Cheng Mingqiang wants to propose marriage to the Xiao family? Chao Yuliang looked at Cheng Minjing and said, Mingqiang likes Xiao Xiao. This surprised Cheng Minjing. Cheng Mingqiang's younger brother wasn't close to his cousin. Although they were only a few years apart, Cheng Mingqiang seemed to be very scheming, which made it difficult for Cheng Minjing to hang out with him. For so many years, apart from talking during festivals, it was difficult for them to interact with each other. Cheng Mingqiang was the son of Cheng Minjing's second uncle, Cheng Zhongfan. I just heard about it. It seems that the marriage between the Cheng family and the Xiao family isn't over yet. Chao Yuliang was relieved to see that Cheng Minjing was just surprised. In theory, if the Cheng family and the Xiao family united by marriage, it wouldn't be a good thing for Xiao Chen. This was because it would completely cut off the possibility of a relationship between Cheng Minjing and Xiao Chen. The Cheng family weren't fools. It was impossible for two members of the same family to unite by marriage with another family. That wouldn't maximize the benefits at all. Moreover, in this marriage, the Cheng family would be the leader, and the Xiao family would be the weaker one. In order to appease the anger of the Cheng family, the Xiao family would definitely lower their stance. As long as the Cheng family didn't forgive Xiao Chen would never be able to make a comeback. The most important thing was that Xiao Chen's younger sister, Xiao Chun, didn't like Xiao Chen, which confirmed that it was impossible for Xiao Chen to return to the Xiao family. Of course, the final benefit that these things brought to Chao Yuliang was that if the Chao family used their power, Cheng Minjing might be his wife. Really? Cheng Minjing asked indifferently, which made Chao Yuliang unable to see her real thoughts. In fact, Cheng Minjing's thoughts weren't as complicated as Chao Yuliang's. Although she was a member of a big family, she naturally couldn't see the drawbacks with her kind character. In her opinion, if the Cheng family really united by marriage with the Xiao family again, would Xiao Chen be able to return to the Xiao family? After Xiao Chen heard it, he felt a little strange in his heart. What was the Cheng family playing at? He could see it clearly. Even if the engagement between Cheng Minjing and himself was destroyed, he was more likely to return to the Xiao family in the end. Or was it that the Cheng family was just angry for a while? After the anger subsided, they wouldn't care about his life anymore? I can't be sure. It's just a rumor. In fact, Chao Yuliang wasn't sure about this matter. He also heard that person mention it vaguely. At this time, he said it just to test Cheng Minjing. However, after testing, he couldn't see anything on Cheng Minjing's face, which made him very depressed. Chao Yuliang had no other way. He could only give Chen Jinping a look. Since he couldn't test her, then he would carry out the second plan, which was to defame Xiao Chen. As long as he often belittled Xiao Chen's image, then Cheng Minjing would definitely not have feelings for Xiao Chen. This kind of thing was imperceptible. As long as she slowly hated Xiao Chen from the bottom of her heart, then even if Xiao Chen wanted to change this impression, it would be useless. Xiao Chen, after dinner, little brother will bring you to have some fun. I heard that there are a few top girls in the Dreamland nightclub. One of them is a porn actress called Cece. Can I help you arrange it? Chen Jinping said at this time. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Although he had been to the Dreamland nightclub to have fun, it was nothing more than singing, drinking, and showing off with his little brother. He had never looked for any prostitutes. He was still a virgin. What was this Chen Jinping doing? However, very soon he understood. Was this guy sent by Chao Yuliang to be his henchman? Belittling his image in front of Chung Minjing? Xiao Chen was very puzzled. It was basically impossible for him and Miss to be together. Why was he doing these useless things? Could it be that he was such a big threat to him? Oh, it's Cece. Pengzi, what are the names of the two girls we played together last time? Those two young models? Xiao Chen nodded shamelessly and then said to Chen Jinping, I think those two are good. We can have a threesome. F***CKU. Aren't you framing me? Anyway, it's impossible for me and Miss to be together now. I don't have any expectations for goddess Xin Jingxian, so I'm not afraid of slandering you. Since you like going to nightclubs so much, I don't mind framing you. Ha! Chen Jinping was stunned. When did he play with young models with Xiao Chen? Xiao Chen's words made Xin Jingxian frown. Although Chen Jinping was arranged by the family, it didn't mean that she liked Chen Jinping. When she heard that Chen Jinping went to play with young models, Shen Jingshuan's impression of him suddenly plummeted. There was no other reason. It was because Chen Jinping had been bragging about how upright he was when he was in contact with her for the past few days. Because he had been a second young master since he was young, he didn't have too many bad habits of a playboy. He was Shen Jingshuan's ideal marriage partner. But now it seemed that they were jackals of the same tribe. As for Xiao Chen, Shen Jingxian didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. Because Xiao Chen was notorious in the past. He had such a beautiful fiancée, but he still flirted with other women. Not only did he pursue Lin, he also pursued her. So Shen Jingxian was used to Xiao Chen's behavior. As for Chung Minjing, she just frowned slightly. She didn't believe that Xiao Chen was a playboy. How many of these young masters were playboys? Even her younger brother, Chung Mengqiang, Chung Minjing had heard that he played with women. It wasn't a secret in the aristocratic families. Chung Minjing was completely disappointed with her fiancé Xiao Chen. So, now that Xiao Chen changed a little, she was surprised. As for these things that Chen Jinping said, Chung Minjing didn't care at all. She had seen the worst side of him. How could she be afraid that it wouldn't be worse? In Chung Minjing's opinion, it was unforgivable that Xiao Chen bullied others and forced himself to pursue Lin. It was normal for him to find a prostitute. If Chao Yuliang knew Chung Minjing's logic, he would probably die of anger. Chung Minjing didn't have high requirements. Was it a surprise that he was a little better? However, Chen Jinping used to work for Xiao Chen. If he denied it, Shen Jingxian wouldn't believe it. It was him who brought up this topic, and Xiao Chen said it in a natural way. It didn't seem to be fake at all. Wow, a threesome? Isn't it cool? Jean Bebe raised her head and looked at Xiao Chen with admiration. Cousin-in-law, you are so powerful. Pooh. Xiao Chen spat out the drink in his mouth. He had just mentioned it casually, but Jean Bebe took it seriously and looked very excited. Was this girl's mind abnormal? What's a threesome? Chung Minjing didn't know what it meant. She looked at Jean Bebe in confusion. She thought it was a round-trip flight. It's a threesome, Jean Bebe said. But threesome is not limited by gender. 2 men and 1 woman, 2 women and 1 man. 3 men or 3 women are all threesome. But a threesome is 2 women and 1 man. In other words, threesome includes a threesome. A threesome is a subset of threesome. Chung Minjing didn't know what a threesome was. But threesome was common. How could she not know? She glared at Xiao Chen after hearing that. Hey, don't lead me astray. Bebe said that. Xiao Chen said with a bitter smile. Humph, you did it, Chung Minjing said. Then I did it. Xiao Chen said. You. Chung Minjing was a bit angry. Can't you be more reserved in front of your fiancé? Do you even care about me? How can you talk about such things in front of me? How annoying. Seeing that Chung Minjing was starting to hate Xiao Chen, Chao Yuliang was quite happy. It seemed that his scheme had worked. However, if he knew Chung Minjing's real thoughts at the moment, he would probably vomit blood. Shall we go in a while? For Chao Yuliang, Chen Jinping was ready to risk everything. After all, Shen Jingxian was already his fiancée. Even if he didn't have a good impression of her, it was something that couldn't be changed. At most, he would kiss her again later, but he couldn't run away. He was in urgent need of Chao Yuliang to take him to some occasions where the young masters would appear in order to increase his appearance and sense of existence. Otherwise, It would be very awkward for him to take over the identity of the young master. Okay, Xiao Chen said indifferently. Jean Beibei was full at the moment. Hearing that Chen Jinping wanted to go to a nightclub, she immediately echoed, Oh, I want to go too. Chen Jinping's face darkened. He had planned to let Shen Jingxian, Cheng Minjing, and Jean Beibei leave first. After all, if he took Xiao Chen there, he and Xiao Yuliang would have to have some fun, wouldn't they? However, if Jean Beibei went there, what if Shen Jingxian and Cheng Minjing went there too? However, Xiao Yuliang's eyes brightened. If Jean Beibei went there, wouldn't it be possible for Cheng Minjing to go there too? By then, she would witness Xiao Chen's embarrassing behavior when he was looking for a prostitute. In that case, Cheng Minjing would probably never be able to be with Xiao Chen again in her life, would she? Thinking of that, Xiao Yuliang pretended to be surprised and said, Jean Beibei, Xiao Chen is going to look for a prostitute. What are you going to do there? I'm going to look for a prostitute too. I haven't looked for one yet. Jean Beibei, however, shouted excitedly, I'm going too. I'm going too. Beibei, do you have that function? Cheng Minjing looked at Jean Beibei, who was yelling and screaming, and felt very embarrassed. How stupid was she? I don't, but my cousin-in-law does. I'll watch him look for a prostitute and cheer for him, said Jean Beibei. Chapter 120. Ahem. A scene appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. He was with a girl, and Jean Beibei was cheering for him. How exciting! He didn't know why, but the girl's appearance had turned into Cheng Minjing's. Humph, then I'll go and have a look. Let's watch together. Cheng Minjing looked at Xiao Chen's fantasy and enjoyment. Suddenly, she felt a little uncomfortable. Am I so unattractive? I didn't see you look like this when you were at home. You look so beautiful when you are with a girl. I'm so mad. I'll go and ruin things for you. However, if Cheng Minjing knew that Xiao Chen was fantasizing about her just now, she didn't know if she should be happy or angry. Seeing that Cheng Minjing was going, Xiao Yuliang was relieved. But what puzzled him was that Xiao Chen didn't seem to care about Cheng Minjing's opinion at all. It seemed that there was really nothing going on between them. However, it was a little strange to say that there was nothing going on between them under the same roof. Apart from Cheng Minjing and Shen Jingxian, the rest of the food was eaten by Xiao Chen and Jean Beibei. Chen Jinping and Xiao Yuliang didn't eat any of it. Most importantly, they didn't have the nerve to fight for it. Jean Beibei and Xiao Chen had placed their plates in front of them. How embarrassing would that be? But the two of them didn't seem to think about it at all. They ate as happily as they could. After the meal, Jean Beibei waved her hand and swiped her diamond card. The bill was free. Xiao Yuliang's face twitched again. That was his card. Wonderland in Dreams was one of the most famous nightclubs in Songning City. It was luxuriously decorated and had many entertainment programs. It was the first choice of entertainment for the children of the aristocratic families. 3 cars parked in the underground parking lot of Wonderland in Dreams one after another. They got out of the cars and entered Wonderland in Dreams. When the receptionist at the door saw Xiao Yuliang and Chen Jinping, she immediately greeted them with a smile. Young Master Qiao, young Master Chen, you're here again? Why did he bring 3 little girls with him today? And they're all so pretty. Are you dissatisfied with the ladies here? The receptionist automatically ignored Xiao Chen. Although Xiao Chen had been here before, Xiao Chen's deeds had spread. Who would still respect him? He looked like a follower, and was not a big shot. When Xiao Yuliang heard the greeting, he really wanted to slap the man in the face. Usually, he would be very happy. After all, the receptionist flattered him and ignored Xiao Chen. That kind of feeling would be very satisfying. But now the receptionist said this. Didn't that mean that he came often? Moreover, he mentioned that he was looking for a prostitute. Didn't that mean that he often came here to look for a prostitute? As for the fact that the receptionist didn't know Cheng Minjing, Shen Jingxian, and Jean Beibei, it was understandable. Why would girls like them come here? Today was the first time. Ahem. Xiao Yuliang coughed twice and glanced at Cheng Minjing. He said, Minjing, don't misunderstand. I'm just here to socialize and play. Oh, what does that have to do with me? Cheng Minjing rolled her eyes and didn't take it to heart. Xiao Yuliang sighed in his heart. Cheng Minjing didn't have that kind of interest in him. However, from Cheng Minjing's expression, she probably didn't have any interest in Xiao Chen either. They both had this kind of disdainful expression. Jingxian, that's because I used to occasionally come here with young Master Xiao. It's also for fun. Chen Jinping quickly explained to Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian frowned slightly. She thought Chen Jinping was too unreliable. She decided to go back and discuss with her father. Even if it was a political marriage, they shouldn't look for Chen Jinping. She thought they wouldn't be happy in the future. It wasn't scary that he had looked for a prostitute. What was scary was that he lied to others. Shen Jingxian was the eldest daughter of an aristocratic family. She could barely accept a man having 3 wives and 4 concubines, let alone playing with a prostitute. However, what she was most afraid of was deceiving people. Shen Jingxian didn't think it was very tolerable. At this time, Shen Jingxian felt that Xiao Chen was much more pleasing to the eye. This person never pretended. He was what he was. The greeter saw that Qiao Yuliang and Chen Jinping's expressions weren't right. After listening to their explanation to the girls beside them, he immediately understood that these beauties weren't ordinary women. They were people with status. His previous words were a bit unnecessary. He was so scared that he quickly moved to the side and didn't dare to say anything more. It seems that I come here too rarely. They don't even know me. Ha! Xiao Chen seemed to laugh at himself. In fact, it indirectly meant that Qiao Yuliang and Chen Jinping were regular customers here. These two people finally felt like they had shot themselves in the foot. They obviously wanted to ruin Xiao Chen's reputation, but Xiao Chen didn't seem to care about this at all. Of course, Xiao Chen didn't care. In the past, in order to save his life, he didn't hesitate to pretend to be a prodigal. What was this little thing? Young Master Xiao, Young Master Qiao, Young Master Chen, are you here to sing? At this time, a man in a black suit came over. Obviously, the greeter told him about the situation here. He was the lobby manager Feng Yujing. He was a smart person. As soon as he came up, he put Xiao Chen in front of him. In addition to showing that he valued Xiao Chen, it also indirectly showed that Xiao Chen was a regular customer. However, if it was usual, it would be fine. With the previous words of the greeter, he was a little pretentious. Yes, sing. Qiao Yuliang breathed a sigh of relief. Give me a private room. Okay, please wait a moment. As he spoke, Feng Yujing picked up the walkie-talkie and spoke into it. Then he said to Qiao Yuliang, Purple Chi Pavilion private room on the 3rd floor. The 3rd floor of the Wonderland of Dreams was filled with luxurious private rooms. They were all named with the words Purple Chi Chamber, East Ascension Chamber, and Rising Sun Chamber. There were no room numbers. Otherwise, some guests would want private room number 1. That would be difficult to deal with. Furthermore, they were all words. You would not be able to tell which one was the best. Wait, aren't we here to look for a mistress? What song are we singing? Jean Bebe interrupted Feng Yujing and said, Chen Jinping, didn't you say you wanted Mistress Zhao? Ah, Feng Yujing was stunned. He looked at Jean Bebe in surprise and didn't know what to say. A girl came here to look for a mistress? He looked at Qiao Yuliang with some difficulty. Let's sing for a while first, and then look for a mistress later. There's no hurry, Qiao Yuliang said. Oh, okay then. Jean Bebe nodded. Feng Yujing heaved a sigh of relief and sent them to the elevator. The 3rd floor's decoration was obviously not of the same level as the 1st and 2nd floors. In the past, Xiao Chen had also been here. However, it was only limited to singing and drinking. He was not very interested in looking for a mistress. The few of them exited the elevator and walked in the direction of Purple Chi Pavilion. However, when they passed by one of the private rooms, Xiao Chen's footsteps slowed down slightly. That was because he heard a familiar voice. However, very quickly, Xiao Chen continued walking forward as if nothing had happened. He was secretly thinking about how he could make use of this matter. To be honest, Xiao Chen hated Qiao Yuliang and Chen Jinping very much. He was not a saint. If there was a grudge, there was a grudge. Regardless of whether he was pretending to be a playboy or not, the grudge between him and Qiao Yuliang had never been resolved. Of course, in the end, it was because Qiao Yuliang liked Xiao Chen's fiancée, Cheng Minjing. Even though Xiao Chun had acted nonchalant at the start, he still cared deep down. Furthermore, there was Chun Jinping. This traitor had actually snatched Xiao Chun's goddess? If Xiao Chun had not been afraid of the Chun family's suspicions, he would have sent him to meet his brother long ago. The reason why he had been laughing and joking was actually because Xiao Chun was more tolerant. They wanted to test Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun also wanted to see if the person who had been trying to harm him was Chun Jinping or Chao Yuliang. After entering the VIP room and ordering some snacks and beer, the waiter turned on the KTV song ordering system. Then Chao Yuliang volunteered to sing. It had to be said that Chao Yuliang had a good voice. At least Xiao Chun thought so, because he could not sing at all. However, what puzzled Xiao Chun was that Chao Yuliang had chosen a female singer's song. In fact, Chao Yuliang had heard from somewhere that Cheng Minjing liked this song. However, when he sang it, he found that Cheng Minjing did not even look at it. Then he realized that he had been cheated. Chao Yuliang, I didn't expect you to be such a sissy. Jean Bebe laughed. It's a cross-roll practice. Chao Yuliang was speechless. He suddenly remembered that it was Jean Bebe who told him the name of the song. I bought a bag last year. After singing the song, Chao Yuliang walked to Cheng Minjing with the wireless microphone and said ingratiatingly, Minjing, what song do you want to sing? Do you want me to help you? Cheng Minjing glared at Chao Yuliang and said, I don't like singing. Huh. Chao Yuliang was slightly stunned. Why was she angry all of a sudden? Ha 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 ha, cousin Minjing is tone deaf. Liangzi, you are doomed. Jean Bebe suddenly burst into laughter. Bebe, do you want to know how death feels? Cheng Minjing turned around and continued to glare at Jean Bebe. Not now. I'll come to you in 100 years when I want to. Jean Bebe shut her mouth. It was not until then that Chao Yuliang realized that his flattery had gone too far. He was very upset and gave the microphone to Chen Jinping. Then he sat down and gave Cheng Minjing a bottle of drink. Do you want to drink something? I like this. Cheng Minjing walked past Chao Yuliang's hand and picked up a bottle of fruit green tea. Then, she opened it and took a sip. I'm going to the bathroom. Xiao Chun suddenly stood up and walked out of the room. He could tell that his mistress did not like this place. She came here because of Jean Bebe. But at this moment, the noisy and dim environment made her frown. Xiao Chun did not know why he cared about Cheng Minjing's feelings. Was it because... Chapter 121. Is she my mistress? Or was she once my fiancée? Perhaps it was both. As for looking for a prostitute, it was completely impossible for Xiao Chun. He wasn't that desperate. He hadn't looked for one before. Why would he look for one now? Xiao Chun came out of the private room. Just as someone came out of the private room, where Xiao Chun had stayed for a while. Xiao Chun came out because he sensed the movement here. Sure enough. Xiao Chun, why are you here? Lu Zhenming saw Xiao Chun rushing towards him, and he was a little puzzled. Young Master Lu. But I don't have time to talk to you. I have to find the security guard. It's not good. Something big happened. Xiao Chun said anxiously. Wait. After Lu Zhenming heard Xiao Chun's words, he grabbed Xiao Chun. What happened? Why are you looking for the security guard? I don't want to talk to you now. It will be late in a while. Xiao Chun yelled. What the hell are you talking about? Lu Zhenming was also anxious. It's better to find me than to find the security guard. In this place, if I, Lu Zhenming, can't solve it, it's useless to find someone else. It was no wonder that Lu Zhenming was arrogant. This dreamland in Wonderland was his Lu family's business, so he dared to say this. Moreover, Lu Zhenming wanted to kill Xiao Chun now, but he couldn't make a move openly. First, he told Zheng Xiaoquan that it was not in line with the rules of the underworld if he made a move openly. Second, it was more important that Yu Xiaochuan was watching. Although he had thoughts about Yu Xiaochuan, he didn't dare to offend Yu Xiaochuan. Therefore, he pretended to listen to Yu Xiaochuan's words and built a good relationship with Xiao Chun. Now his purpose was to gain Xiao Chun's trust, so that he could have a chance to trick Xiao Chun. It seemed that the effect was very obvious. Then I'll tell you. Today 2 ruthless men invited me, Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe, to play here. One of them was my former underling. but now he has changed and doesn't care about me anymore. Xiaochen said anxiously. What, Cheng Minjing is also here? At first, Lu Zhenming didn't pay much attention to it, but when he heard Cheng Minjing's name, he immediately paid attention. What happened? And then another ruthless man. He is Cheng Minjing's pursuer. I heard that he wanted to drug Cheng Minjing's drink, and then take the opportunity. You know, Xiaochen said. Although I like her now, no matter what, Cheng Minjing is my former fiancé. If she likes that man, it's okay. But the point is that she doesn't like him. I can't ignore it. Don't you think so? F*ck their ancestors. As soon as Lu Zhenming heard that someone had drugged Cheng Minjing, he immediately exploded. He was so angry that he jumped up from the ground. Who dares to touch the woman that I Lu Zhenming fancy? You dare to drug someone in my territory? I'll F*king kill him. Oh, young Master Lu, don't be impulsive. Seeing that Lu Zhenming was about to rush over, Xiaochen quickly grabbed him. I said he is a ruthless man. A ruthless man means a warrior. If it were ordinary people, I would have beaten them to death. Oh, that's true. After hearing this, Lu Zhenming didn't rush over. Instead, he turned his head and shouted to the box he had just come out of. Brothers Dong Yu and Dong Shu, you two come out and follow me to kick people. Yes. The people in the box responded and came out. They were two big men who looked somewhat similar. Judging from their names, they should be brothers. These two are? Xiaochen asked quickly. These two are the personal disciples of our Lu family's old ancestor. They are also my big brother and second brother. Today I invited them to have fun. You really found the right time. If it was any other time, I really wouldn't be able to convince Master to ask them to help. Lu Zhenming said proudly. Big brother Dong Yu is a martial artist at the peak of Stage 6 Inner Force. Second brother Dong Shu is also a martial artist at the peak of Stage 4 Inner Force. With them taking action, no matter how ruthless people are, they will have to crawl out of here. That's awesome. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and save them, Xiaochen said excitedly. However, in Xiaochen's heart, a storm was set off. A martial artist at the peak of Stage 6 Inner Force. Lu Zhenming actually had such an expert by his side. If Lu Zhenming really let this person deal with him, then even if he had the help of the Elder Heaven Ancestor, he wouldn't be a match. Fortunately, Lu Zhenming couldn't order these two people around. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The most important thing now was to increase his strength as soon as possible. Yes, save them. Let's go. Lu Zhenming waved his hand, and the four of them rushed to the Purple Chi Pavilion. When they arrived at the entrance of the Purple Chi Pavilion, Lu Zhenming pointed to the door of the private room and asked, Is this the place? That's right. Xiaochen nodded. I'd better follow behind. If those two ruthless people find out that I was the one who leaked the information, they will kill me afterward. They don't dare to offend a fierce person like young Master Lu, but a small character like me can't. My family won't protect me. Alright, then you stay behind. Lu Zhenming actually didn't want Xiaochen to be in the limelight. This was a great opportunity for him to be in the limelight. It was enough for him to be in the limelight. If he let Cheng Minjing remember that he saved her, she might have a good impression of him. Thinking of this, Lu Zhenming fiercely kicked the door of the private room. With a loud bang, the door of the private room was kicked open. Lu Zhenming rushed into the private room first, and saw Cheng Minjing drinking a drink, while Chao Yuliang was beside her saying something. F*ck your mother's leg. Lu Zhenming flew over and slapped Chao Yuliang's face. Half of Chao Yuliang's face immediately swelled up like a steamed bun. He was slapped in a daze, and didn't know what had happened. He sat there in a daze and didn't move. At this moment, Lu Zhenming's blood was boiling. He wasn't happy with the first slap, so he gave a second slap. With a pa-pa-pa-pa sound, Chao Yuliang was immediately hit until his mouth was full of blood. His face also became like a pig's head. Who are you? What are you doing? Chen Jinping was greatly shocked. Pointing at the thug who had broken into the private room, he shouted, What are you doing? He had just been promoted to the heir of the Chen family, and hadn't participated in any activities of the noble families yet. Therefore, he didn't know who Lu Zhenming was at all. Boy, don't move if you don't want to die. Dong Yu walked over and grabbed Chen Jinping's collar. She dragged him aside as if he were a chicken, and revealed the capability of a warrior at the peak of the 6th level of his inner force. Chen Jinping was aghast in his heart. Not only was this thug incomparably ferocious, his strength was also very superb. He was a warrior at the peak of the 6th level of his inner force. Where did he come from? The lady was shocked. Shen Jingxian was shocked. Jin Beibei, on the other hand, watched Chao Yuliang being beaten in excitement. Bam! 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 Lu Zhenming was not satisfied yet. He kicked Chao Yuliang hard and knocked him to the ground. However, Chao Yuliang came back to himself this time. He hurried to protect his critical parts and dodged back and forth. Lu Zhenming was also a warrior at the 1st level of inner force. If he really attacked Chao Yuliang would certainly be beaten up badly. Therefore, it could not be helped. Chao Yuliang could only defend himself in secret, but he did not dare to be too obvious. If he did not defend himself, he would be beaten to death. More importantly, he would be beaten out of nowhere. He did not even see who his opponent was. However, seeing that Chao Yuliang was dodging, Lu Zhenming felt that the beating was not satisfying anymore. So he said to Dong Shu, who did not attack, "Second senior brother, come here and help me hold him down. I'm going to beat this little bastard to death. Damn it! How dare he touch the woman that I Lu Zhenming like? He must be tired of living." Dong Shu nodded. He came over and held Chao Yuliang down. Chao Yuliang wanted to struggle, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move. He secretly used the capability of the peak of the 3rd level of inner force, but he still could not break free, which meant that his opponent was more powerful. In desperation, Chao Yuliang could only defend himself with all his strength. Fortunately, Lu Zhenming's strength was not very high. Under Chao Yuliang's full defense, he was not badly beaten. However, Chao Yuliang only dared to defend himself secretly, but did not dare to show his strength of the peak of the 3rd level of inner force. Although Chen Jinping was on his side, Cheng Minjing, Shen Jingxian, and Jin Beibei were all from aristocratic families. If he secretly defended himself, they might not feel anything, because the internal force of the defense could only be perceived by the attacker, who was very close to him. However, if the internal force of the attack was released, everyone nearby could feel it. Yes, Chao Yuliang was not a real foppish young master. Although he looked as arrogant and domineering as Xiao Chun, they were all from aristocratic families. Who was more stupid than the other? What you saw might not be the truth. For example, Yu Xiaochuan and Zheng Xiaoquan were all scheming people. Even Lu Zhenming was not simple. Although he had been tricked by Xiao Chun several times, if Xiao Chun hadn't hidden his true strength, if he was really the hedonistic idiot from before, he would have probably been toyed to death by Lu Zhenming by now. He wouldn't have survived until now. It could only be said that Lu Zhenming was not as smart as Xiao Chun, but it did not mean that he was not smart. In fact, the plots he made were exactly what a son from a family of mafias should have, but he used them on the wrong person. Over these years, Chao Yuliang had been hiding his real strength. He looked like a good-for-nothing on the surface. In fact, he had started to cooperate with someone when he was very young. The reason why he could become the eldest son of the Chao family was that with the help of that person, his cousin was expelled from the Chao family and sent to the north to manage his business. Now, he was the only heir of the Chao family. Xiao Chun hid outside the door of the private room. His breathing was slightly rapid, and his hands were clenched into fists, which was enough to show the injustice in his heart at this moment. Chapter 122. Others might not be able to sense Chao Yuliang's strength at the peak of Stage 3 inner force, but as a cultivator, Xiao Chun would be able to sense it as long as a martial artist released their inner force, unless they deliberately suppressed it and hid it, ensuring that their inner force would not leak at all times. Xiao Chun would never have thought that Chao Yuliang was actually a martial artist, and that he had already reached the peak of Stage 3 inner force. Among the children of aristocratic families, he was one of the best. Of course, whether Chao Yuliang hid his strength or not, logically speaking, had little to do with Xiao Chun. However, a group of fragmented memories reappeared in Xiao Chun's mind, as if they were about to form a complete sequence of events. The somewhat familiar Audi A6L, the Stage 3 inner force expert who pushed him down the cliff, Chao Yuliang's foresight when he returned to school, and the assassin's words of "you also hid your strength." These scenes, which originally had nothing to do with each other, were put together at this moment. It made Xiao Chen think of something. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Chao Yuliang in the private room. Was it him? Xiao Chen was not too sure. On the way to Songlong Mountain cliff mouth, Xiao Chen vaguely remembered that there seemed to be an Audi A6L and a taxi driving together. Of course, this was also discovered in the fragmented memories after he became a cultivator and recalled the past. And the car that Chao Yuliang drove today was precisely an Audi A6L. Back then, Xiao Chen had not been able to figure out who it could be. However, Chao Yuliang, who was in front of him, fulfilled this condition. After returning to school, Chao Yuliang actually knew that he jumped off the cliff. How did the taxi driver know about this? When he walked to the cliff mouth, he remembered that the driver had already driven away. That unknown assassin said that he also hid his strength. Obviously, among the people he knew, there should be someone who also hid his strength. So many clues pointed to one person at the same time. That was Chao Yuliang. However, these things were not enough to be conclusive evidence, and Xiao Chen could not determine whether this person was Chao Yuliang or not. Chao Yuliang, if this person is really you, then I'm afraid you will be disappointed. I, Xiao Chen, am no longer the previous Xiao Chen. Thinking of the previous times, if the assassin was sent by Chao Yuliang's people, then Lu Zhenming could be said to have helped him several times. And this time, it was Lu Zhenming who helped him. Lu Zhenming, wow, you are really a good person. In the private room, Chao Yuliang was already out of breath from being beaten, and could not speak. Lu Zhenming, what are you doing? Cheng Minjing also recovered at this time, and looked at Lu Zhenming with some horror. She did not know why he was crazy and beat up Chao Yuliang as soon as he came in. Minjing, this guy wants to do something bad to you. Don't worry, I will protect you. Lu Zhenming patted his chest and said. Chao Yuliang looked at Lu Zhenming with resentment. At this moment, he finally saw who the person in front of him was. Wasn't this the Lu Zhenming who repeatedly opposed him? However, at this moment, Chao Yuliang seemed to understand something. This guy, it turns out that he also likes Cheng Minjing. F*CKU. You are from an underworld family. How dare you challenge me, a young master from a formal family? Well, let's wait and see. He wanted to curse, but his cheeks were so swollen that he could not make a sound. Actually, everything happened very fast. It was only a few minutes since Lu Zhenming came in and beat up Chao Yuliang. At this time, Chen Jinping pointed at Lu Zhenming and shouted at the top of his voice, I don't care who you are. You beat up Child Chao. This is not over. Child Chao? What Child Chao or Childly? I don't know him. Lu Zhenming wanted to act tough for a while, but when he saw Cheng Minjing frown, he suddenly remembered what Jean Bebe had said before. She said that Cheng Minjing did not like the scene of a hero saving a damsel in distress. Thinking of this, Lu Zhenming felt that he should stop before going too far. He should save someone without leaving his name, and he should not act tough. That was the only way he could win Cheng Minjing's favor. If he acted like a hero, he was afraid that he would have saved her in vain. Therefore, Lu Zhenming waved his hand and said, Minjing, it's all right now. I'm leaving. Don't drink the drinks on the table. With that, Lu Zhenming quickly led Dong Yu and Dong Shu out of the private room. They came and left in a hurry, not leaving a single cloud behind. Lu Zhenming walked out of the room, and was a little puzzled when he did not see Xiao Chen. However, when he returned to his room, he saw Xiao Chen waiting for him at the door of the room. Xiao Chen, why are you here? Didn't you see me beating people up just now? Lu Zhenming looked at Xiao Chen with some puzzlement. I say, young Master Lu, do you want to kill me? You went up and beat them up. You are not afraid of them, but I am. If I didn't hide quickly, and let him know that I was the one who leaked the information, he would retaliate against me later. Xiao Chen said with a bitter face. That's right. Lu Zhenming nodded after listening. Xiao Chen, don't worry. I will never treat you badly in the future. How about this? You help me monitor him in the future. If that little bastard still wants to do something bad to Minjing, you tell me. I will kill him. Ah, let me monitor him. Xiao Chen looked at Lu Jinming with some embarrassment. Young Master Lu, it's not that I don't want to help you. With our current relationship, you are protecting me and taking me to make money. I am actually very grateful to you. But you also know that I sell fried dough sticks every day. I don't have any spare time to pay attention to these things. Lu Jinming listened to it. This Xiao Chen said for a long time. The main point was that he was short of money. Thinking of this, Lu Jinming said, How about this? I will give you a sum of investigation funds. How about it? You help me. How much can you give? Asked Xiao Chen after listening. 1 month. How about 100,000 yuan? Asked Lu Jinming. 100,000 yuan? D*MN, that's too little. If I have that time, I will go and play underground boxing. It will be more than 100,000 yuan. Xiao Chen shook his head and said disdainfully, Your work is laborious but not rewarding. You also know that my engagement with the Chung family has been broken off. If I have nothing to do and pay attention to Chung Minjing, the Chung family will think that I still like Chung Minjing. Won't they kill me? No, the risk is too great. Lu Jinming wanted to be angry. Do you think that you can play underground boxing every day? Isn't that my family's money to compensate you? However, when he heard the last sentence, he somewhat understood. Yes, Xiao Chen has nothing to do with Chung Minjing now. If he pays attention to her all day, what if the Chung family finds trouble with him? However, Lu Jinming was also afraid that other people would do something to Chung Minjing. If the rice was cooked, then wouldn't Lu Jinming have no chance at all? Thinking of this, Lu Jinming said, Xiao Chen, wow. You also know that if you want to make a lot of money, it coexists with risks. How can there be so many good things in the world without sowing? How about I give you 200,000 yuan a month? 200,000 yuan is my limit. I don't have much pocket money. All right then, 200,000 yuan. Xiao Chen nodded reluctantly and said, But let me say it first. This is only the investigation fee. If you want me to do something else, it will be more money. Xiao Chen also noticed that Lu Jinming's pocket money was really not much. He didn't know how he bought the broken bowl before. At this time, he could take out 200,000 yuan, which was considered a big loss. Of course, as long as you inform me, I will do the rest. Lu Jinming said as he patted his chest. Then I will go back first and see how it is over there. Xiao Chen nodded. Give me my investigation fee as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the ruthless person also buys me and gives me more money, I won't be able to hold back and change sides. Ugh, okay, no problem. I will give it to you in a few days. Lu Jinming listened to Xiao Chen's words and was very angry. What the F***ck change sides? What is this? You are an abandoned son of the Xiao family, and you are still so bad *SS? However, Lu Jinming still didn't dare to say this. He still needed Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen really changed sides, it would be too late even if he cried. Xiao Chen slowly returned to the Purple Chi Pavilion. Suddenly, he saw Chao Yuliang lying on the ground, and Chen Jinping was continuously searching for something on Chao Yuliang's body. Aya, Liangzi, what happened to you? Xiao Chen looked at Chao Yuliang on the ground in horror. You have food poisoning? Why is your face swollen? Woo woo. Oh. Chao Yuliang saw Xiao Chen and wanted to explain. However, his mouth was so swollen that he couldn't open it. He couldn't say anything at all. Brother-in-law, Xiao Liangzi offended someone and was beaten up. Jean Beibei said. Just now, Lu Jinming brought people over and gave him a good beating. What? Lu Jinming came? He beat up Chao Yuliang? Xiao Chen looked at Chao Yuliang on the ground in puzzlement. I say, Liangzi, how did you offend Lu Jinming? The two of you shouldn't know each other. Woo woo. Chao Yuliang was also extremely angry. It's not like I don't know him. However, when this guy came in, he beat me up like crazy. I'm really unlucky. Finally, Chen Jinping found a small medicine bottle on Chao Yuliang's body. He quickly opened it and poured the medicine inside into Chao Yuliang's mouth. After a while, The redness and swelling on Chow Yuliang's face subsided slightly. At least he could speak. Lu, Zhen, Ming, you wait. Brother Liang, shall we go back now? Chen Jinping asked carefully. Chow Yuliang nodded. It was not suitable for him to take revenge in his current state. It was even more impossible for him to continue playing. Alas, this is so boring. I haven't found a prostitute yet. Jean Bebe was very disappointed. Xiao Liangzi, you're so lousy. You haven't even found a prostitute yet. And you've already withered. Chow Yuliang's face turned red. If it was any other time, it would have been fine. But in front of Cheng Minjing, he said that he was a coward if he couldn't even handle one. Wouldn't that make Cheng Minjing look down on him? If Cheng Minjing looked down on him, she would never marry him for her own happiness. Chapter 123. Therefore, Chow Yuliang became hot-headed and shouted, "Today, I was beaten up. If it were any other day, I wouldn't fall even if there were 3 or 5 of them. Ah, so fierce. Cousin-in-law, can you surpass him?" Jean Bebe turned around and looked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was speechless. "Disgusting. I don't want to see you again." Cheng Minjing blushed after hearing that. She glared at Chow Yuliang and turned around, pulling Jean Bebe's hand. "Bebe, let's go home. This place is not fun. Driver, clear the way for me." "Okay." Xiao Chen had been sick of staying here for a long time. He had messed with Chow Yuliang not only because he wanted his mistress to leave this place as soon as possible, but also because he did not expect that there would be an unexpected gain. Although he was not sure that Chow Yuliang was the one who had been trying to set him up, it seemed that he was right. Smarty Xia was right. Intelligence was always better. You are a knife that could kill without drawing blood. Where are we going now? Bebe's house. When they came to the parking lot, Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that Jean Bebe's car had been replaced by a Porsche 991, with 2 doors and 2 seats. "Wait for my car. We'll take both cars back," said Jean Bebe. "Pooh." Xiao Chen was dazed for a moment. Then he thought of something and said, "Bebe, you are really mean." Chen Jinping lost another car. "I'm not as mean as my cousin-in-law," Jean Bebe said with a smile. Chow Yuliang was beaten into a pig's head. "Hey, what are you talking about?" Cheng Minjing did not understand what they were talking about. She did not know what they were talking about. "Bebe wants to cheat Chen Jinping of another car," said Xiao Chen. "It's my cousin-in-law who found Lu Zhenming," said Jean Bebe. "Ah." Cheng Minjing finally understood. She was not a black-bellied girl, so she naturally did not think of these things. However, it did not hinder her intelligence. She understood after Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe mentioned it. Sure enough, Jean Bebe was up to no good when she said she wanted to change cars. As for Lu Zhenming, how could it be so coincidental that he suddenly appeared in the private room? It was only when Xiao Chen went to the toilet that he appeared. However, seeing that Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe seemed to know each other very well, Cheng Minjing felt a bit uncomfortable. "I'm your hostess. Why are you playing with my cousin all the time?" After a while, she saw Chen Jinping supporting Chow Yuliang and limping to the parking lot. Chen Jinping found it strange that Xiao Chen and the rest of them had not left yet. However, he was in a hurry to send Chow Yuliang back, and had no time to care what Xiao Chen and the rest of them were doing. He took out the car key in a hurry, opened the door of the Panamera, and helped Chow Yuliang into the car. Shen Jingxian, on the other hand, followed them from a distance. Seeing Cheng Minjing, she was about to greet her when she saw Jean Bebe making a phone call. "Hello, Grandpa. This is Bebe." Jean Bebe picked up the phone and put it next to her ear. She continued speaking loudly. Yes. Let's go back now. However, my car is lost again. It seems to be driven by Chen Jinping." "What? Grandpa, you have to come." Holy sh*t. Chen Jinping, who was about to help Chow Yuliang into the car, suddenly staggered and almost fell to the ground. However, he did not. His hand shook and fell on Chow Yuliang's butt. He couldn't have looked more wretched. With hatred in his eyes, Chen Jinping looked at Jean Bebe not far away. However, after careful consideration, he decided not to change cars with Jean Bebe. Gnashing his teeth, he picked up the car key and walked close, saying to Jean Bebe, I don't want to change cars anymore. Looking at Chen Jinping, Jean Bebe hummed with a smile. You can't change Jean Bebe's things just because you want to. I don't want it anymore. Chen Jinping was worried about Chao Yuliang's wounds. Taking a deep breath, he slapped the Panamera's car key on the cover of the Porsche 991. I can't mess with them, but I can hide from them. Bye-bye. Jean Bebe picked up the car key and waved at Chen Jinping. Chen Jinping was so angry that smoke was rising from his nostrils and nose. Had he not been worried about Chao Yuliang, he would have spoken to Jean Bebe today before Gold Fur Lion arrived. Jing Xian, let's get in the car. Chen Jinping walked to Chao Yuliang's Audi A6L. Thankfully, there was still another car. No, I'll call a taxi myself. You can drive Chao Yuliang home. Shen Jingxian shook her head. Although she was still smiling, she seemed to be a lot more distant from Chen Jinping. It was obvious that she hated Chen Jinping. Well, okay. Chen Jinping naturally sensed it too. However, he could not ignore Chao Yuliang. He could only ask Shen Jingxian about it another day. Helping Chao Yuliang into his Audi A6L, Chen Jinping hurried to get in the car and left quickly. Jingxian, why don't you ask Xiao Chen to drive you home? Seeing that Shen Jingxian was going back alone, Cheng Minjing was somewhat worried. Shen Jingxian was a pretty girl. What if she ran into some hooligans when she went out to call a taxi on such a busy street at such a late hour? There were crooks and honest folk mixed together in this area. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Shen Jingxian walked over and smiled as gently as before. Xiao Chen had once been obsessed with that smile. Time had passed, and Xiao Chen now only had appreciation for it. As the two of them drifted apart, their attitudes changed too. Why not? And it's not troublesome at all. Shen Jingxian was Cheng Minjing's best friend. Apart from Jean Bebe, Cheng Minjing had the best relationship with her. How could she not worry about her? She glanced at Xiao Chen and said, Hey Xiao Chen, can you help me take Jingxian home? Is there a problem? No. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and thought, how dare I say there is a problem? Okay, you drive the Panamera. Bebe and I will go to Grandpa Jin's home first. You can come by yourself then. Cheng Minjing ordered. Okay, but what's the address? Xiao Chen had never been to Jin's home. There's a navigation system in the car. Bebe has already set it up. You just need to find home, at the address. Cheng Minjing said. Got it. Xiao Chen nodded. He took the key of the Panamera and nodded to Shen Jingxian. His eyes were no longer infatuated with her. He just said lightly, Beauty Jingxian, get in the car. Shen Jingxian was stunned. Although Xiao Chen called her Beauty Jingxian, the way Xiao Chen looked at her was completely different from before, which made Shen Jingxian feel strange. How could a playboy change so much in such a short time? Of course, in fact, Xiao Chen wasn't so superficial before. He just wanted to make himself look more stupid, so he deliberately had that expression. Xiao Chen liked Shen Jingxian. It wasn't fake. A graceful lady was a gentleman's desire. However, at that time, Xiao Chen still had some fantasies. He thought that if the Shen family and the Xiao family cooperated, would he still have a chance? Although Shen Jingshuan's Shen family was powerful, it wasn't the case in Songning City. If the Shen family wanted to expand their connections and power here, they must cooperate with the families here. At that time, Xiao Chen thought that if the Shen family and the Xiao family cooperated, would he have a chance? After all, Cheng Minjing and Shen Jingxian were bosom friends. It wasn't uncommon for the children of aristocratic families to attack bosom friends. Xiao Chen thought he understood these things at that time. But now, Xiao Chen felt that he might have been a little into the role of a playboy at that time. No matter what, Shen Jingxian was the young lady of the Shen family. How could she follow him without a title? He wasn't a strong man. Xiao Chen opened the car door for Shen Jingxian in a gentlemanly manner. But he wasn't as attentive as Chen Jinping, which made Shen Jingxian feel a little strange. She couldn't help but look at Xiao Chen a few more times. After getting in the car, Xiao Chen started the car and didn't talk to Shen Jingxian again. Instead, he drove the car directly out of the parking lot. Do you know where my home is? Shen Jingxian couldn't help but ask curiously. Xiao Chen used to be a student of No. 1 middle school, so he should know. It was very late today, and the dormitory building of number 1 middle school was already closed. If Shen Jingxian didn't show her identity as the young lady of the Shen family, she could only go home to stay. But Shen Jingxian rarely used this identity. "Oh, so you want to go home? I thought you were going back to school." Xiaochen used to go back to school very late, but as long as he said his name, as the young master of the Xiao family, the guard would quickly open the door for him. It was the same for Shen Jingxian, but he didn't expect that Shen Jingxian wanted to go home. What a good child. However, Xiaochen also knew about Shen Jingshuan's home. "My family also knows. I used to be obsessed with you for a while, so I also investigated your home address, hobbies, height, 3 measurements, and so on." "Ah!" Shen Jingxian looked at Xiaochen in shock. She didn't expect that Xiaochen would say it so naturally. He even said that he was infatuated with her. She thought that he would be secretive about it. However, forget about the address. He even investigated her 3 measurements? Of course I didn't find out. Xiaochen smiled. "Who you scared me?" Shen Jingxian patted her chest. She was just thinking about who exposed her information. Cheng Minjing was probably the only one who knew. However, Cheng Minjing obviously wouldn't tell Xiaochen. Shen Jingshuan's words made Xiaochen stunned. In the past, when he saw Shen Jingxian, she always had a gentle look, and the speed of her speech was not too fast or too slow. It made people feel like they were bathing in the spring breeze. He had never heard such a little woman's tone. When Shen Jingxian saw that Xiaochen didn't speak, she also realized the problem with her words just now. She couldn't help but smile and say, "I am a normal girl. Of course, there are times when I am surprised." But this time, her speed of speech returned to normal. It was warm and soft. "It seems that I am quite honored." Xiaochen nodded. If it were before, when Shen Jingxian said this to him, he would be very proud. But now everything seemed to have become indifferent. "Yes, it is your honor to let you see this lady speak like this." Shen Jingxian was playful. She imitated Cheng Minjing's tone and said to Xiaochen. Chapter 124. Ptaha. Xiaochen suddenly laughed out loud. "You don't say, it's really similar." They are indeed best friends. Even their voices and expressions are very similar. "Xiaochen, to be honest, I really didn't expect you to become like this one day." Shen Jingxian put away her previous joking expression and said solemnly to Xiaochen, "If you were like this before, maybe Minjing wouldn't hate you so much." "It's the same. It doesn't matter." Xiaochen shrugged. "Now I'm eating and drinking under the big sister. I just have to make her happy." "You can do it. There will be a day when the Diao silk also makes a comeback." Shen Jingxian said with a smile. He didn't know why, but when Shen Jingxian said the words Diao silk in this tone, Xiaochen felt a little strange. He had never heard Shen Jingxian say such words before. But thinking about it, he didn't have contact with Cheng Minjing in the past. It was impossible for him to imagine that Cheng Minjing had such a tsundere side. Only after being in contact for a long time will one discover the true side? Does it mean that behind every goddess, there is a man who has ket her until she wants to vomit? Xiaochen shook his head. "I won't vomit, right?" The Panamera was a sports car. Xiaochen's speed was very fast. There weren't many cars on the road at night, so they soon arrived at the Shen family's residence in Songming City. Shen Jingxian was also quite surprised that Xiaochen didn't delay the time to talk to her on the way. "Didn't Xiaochen always find an excuse to talk to me?" It was really difficult for her to overlap the current Xiaochen with the previous Xiaochen. They were completely different people. "I'm leaving, Xiaochen. Thank you for sending me off." Shen Jingxian unfastened her seatbelt, pushed the car door open, and waved her hand to Xiaochen as she said softly, "Well, give Miss a call so that she won't worry." Xiaochen nodded. "Okay." Shen Jingxian was stunned and then nodded. Xiaochen seemed to be very concerned about Cheng Minjing. Or was it because Cheng Minjing was his mistress? Xiaochen didn't say anything else. He didn't even have a trace of reluctance. He started the car and left the Shen family's residence with a beautiful drift. Shen Jingxian looked at Xiaochen's car quietly and shook her head. "Xianxian, did Jinping send you back?" Shen Jinghao heard the sound of the car in the courtyard and walked out of the villa. She saw her daughter standing at the door of the courtyard, watching a car leave. Jinping? Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned. Then she shook her head and said, "No, it was Menjing." Shen Jingxian didn't expect that she would lie, but she felt that it was natural to lie. She was afraid that if she said it was Xiao Chun, it would implicate Xiao Chun. "Oh, where's Jinping?" Shen Jinghao nodded and asked without the slightest doubt. "Chao Yuliang was beaten up today. Chen Jinping sent him back," Shen Jingxian said. "The Chao family's Chao Yuliang? Who dares to beat him?" Shen Jinghao was slightly stunned. "It's the Lu family's Lu Jinming." Shen Jingxian didn't care much about these things. Who knows why? Lu family? Shen Jinghao shook his head. He didn't understand why an underworld family dared to be so arrogant now. Could it be that the Lu family found something to rely on? Forget it. Right, Xian, how are you getting along with Jinping recently? Can you get engaged to him? Shen Jinghao asked. With him, let's wait first. I think he is a bit unreliable. Shen Jingxian shook her head slightly and said, I don't like him. Jingxian, we are the children of big families. How can there be true love? You have to think about your brother. He is not the only heir in the Shen family. If we can't make some achievements in Songning City and bring help to your brother, how can he stand out? Shen Jinghao smiled bitterly. Although the Chen family is not big, they are also the local tyrant in Songning City. If we want to develop here, we must unite with them. Oh, Shen Jingxian flattened her mouth. When she thought of her brother, she stopped talking. She loved her brother very much. For her brother, she could marry someone she didn't like. This was the fate of a woman from a big family. Cousin Menjing, why did you ask your cousin-in-law to send sister Jingxian home? Aren't you afraid that they will rekindle their old love? Jean Bebe was driving the Porsche 991. She was very excited. She had never driven such a good sports car before. Rekindle their old love? Bebe, what are you talking about? How can Jingxian fall in love with Xiao Chun? Cheng Minjing said disdainfully. That's not necessarily true. The current cousin-in-law is not the same as before. Not only is he powerful, but he is also as smart as me. Besides, he can change his shape. He can cook, cure, and sleep with me. Ha ha ha, he is simply an all-rounder. Jean Bebe said excitedly. Since you admire him so much, you should marry him. Cheng Minjing frowned. Why did she feel that Jean Bebe seemed to be in love? When she was with this girl in the past, she basically never talked about men. Even if she mentioned it occasionally, it was to prank someone. Well, my grandpa does hope that. But I can't compete with you, cousin Minjing. Jean Bebe said. Cheng Minjing was a bit puzzled after hearing that. Why did Master Jean fall in love with Xiao Chun? Was it just because Xiao Chun and Jean Bebe got along well? Or was it because Xiao Chun could cure diseases? I don't want it. You can have it. Cheng Minjing said. It's a pity that my cousin-in-law doesn't like me. Jean Bebe said regretfully. If you like him, he would love to marry you. Cheng Minjing snorted. That's not necessarily true. I'm not a goddess. I don't have a good temperament like you, cousin Minjing. Jean Bebe held her breasts with her hands and said, My breasts are the only advantage I have. I wonder if my cousin-in-law likes boobs. Jean Bebe's words made Cheng Minjing somewhat happy. Hee, I'm the goddess. It's just that Xiao Chun is a blind man who can't see how good I am. Bebe can see it. Xiao Chun's car was fast. Although he had played with cars before, it had been difficult for him to keep the speed at such a high speed. Although there were not many cars on the street at night, it was still a street, and the performance of a sports car could not be maximized. However, today Xiao Chun discovered that he could do it. Traveling in the traffic, Xiao Chun could do it easily. He was almost one with the car. The six senses of a cultivator had been enhanced, allowing Xiao Chun to execute every movement skillfully and flawlessly. Previously, Xiao Chun had seen movements in racing videos, but he had never been able to execute them. Now Xiao Chun could easily execute them. Just like cooking with fried dough sticks. If Xiao Chun were to take part in a race right now, it would not be a problem for him to win the first place. What an awesome cultivator! In fact, what Xiao Chun did not know was that it would not be difficult for him to win the first place with his driving skills. As long as he practiced a few more times, he would almost be a god of racing. Jean Bebe was driving when she suddenly discovered that somebody was blinking at her with the headlights behind her. She was immediately infuriated. She was about to take a closer look when a red Porsche 991 drove past her quickly and overtook her instantly, parking on the side of the road. The plate number of the red Porsche 991 was TPC 991. It was one of the best plates too. PC could be the abbreviation of sports car, or the abbreviation of Porsche, the English logo of Porsche. With the plate number of 991, it was almost invincible. Only Chen Jinping's family could have auctioned such an awesome plate number. Holy sh*T. Why is my cousin-in-law here so soon? Didn't he go to send Sister Jingxian home? Did he leave Sister Jingxian on the side of the road? Jean Bebe looked at the car in front of her in surprise. It was Chen Jinping's car. Cheng Minjing frowned suspiciously after hearing Jean Bebe's words too. Are you serious? Isn't Xiao Chen in love with Jingxian? It would be great if he didn't send her home, and dawdled a little longer on the way. How could he be so fast? It's hard to say. I don't think my cousin-in-law is so shallow. Jean Bebe shook her head. Cousin Minjing, have you ever dissed my cousin-in-law before? Why do I feel that he is a completely different person from what you described him to be? Cheng Minjing was rendered speechless. In fact, she felt that Xiao Chen was a different person from what she remembered too. Jean Bebe parked the car behind Xiao Chen's Porsche 991, and then got out of the car. She happened to see Xiao Chen also open the door and get out of the car. Cheng Minjing ran over and looked into the car, trying to see where Xin Jingxian was. However, she didn't find Xin Jingxian. She was a little anxious. She put her hands on her waist and questioned, Hey Xiao Chen, where did you take Jingxian? I sent her home. Xiao Chen was stunned, not knowing why the eldest miss was mad again. Did he come back too late? But it was already very fast. Sent her home. Cheng Minjing looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. You came back in such a short time? This car is fast. Xiao Chen said. I used to go racing, so I drove fast. Oh. Cheng Minjing nodded. She believed Xiao Chen's words. She had heard that Xiao Chen played with cars before. On the other hand, Jean Bebe looked at Xiao Chen in surprise, but she did not say anything. The two cars set off from the Wonderland of Dreams at the same time. Xiao Chen went to the Shen family's residence, and then caught up with them. It was not as simple as racing. He was like a robot. Let's go to Bebe's home. Do you want to take my car or Bebe's? Xiao Chen asked. I won't take your car. I will be scared to death if you drive so fast. Cheng Minjing snorted, and got into Jean Bebe's car. I want to take my brother-in-law's car, Jean Bebe said. Bebe! Cheng Minjing shouted with a gloomy face. Although she could also drive, she didn't know how to control a sports car. She was afraid of hitting it if it was too fast. Oh, then I'd better be cousin Minjing's driver. Jean Bebe closed the door of the Panamera and returned to the Porsche 991. Chapter 125. This time, Xiao Chen also drove at a normal speed. The two cars drove to the Jean family's villa one after another. The Jean family was a relatively weak family among all the well-known families. Old Master Jean did not have much business sense. There were no other good businesses in the family either. They only managed a few medium-sized businesses, which were enough to support the whole family. However, compared with other well-known families, the Jean family was quite poor. Therefore, the Jean family's villa was not very large. It was not as beautiful as those well-known families. The Jean family was just located on the roadside in the suburbs, which was not very eye-catching. Jean Bebe's two cars were probably the best cars in the Jean family. Even old Master Jin's car was just a Wrangler. The arrival of the two luxury cars at the same time immediately attracted the attention of the Jean family. A man who looked similar to Jean Bebe, and was about 20 years old, walked over. When he saw Jean Bebe, he said happily, Bebe, you've brought your friends back. Brother, it's my cousin and cousin-in-law. Jean Bebe said. Cousin? Cousin-in-law? Jean Baobao was stunned. Although he knew Cheng Minjing and Cheng Minjing was Jean Bebe's cousin, he did not know who her cousin-in-law was. He wondered which of Jean Beibei's cousins was married. Cousin. Cheng Minjing got out of the car and nodded at Jean Baobao. Although Jean Baobao was Jean Beibei's cousin, it was not wrong for Cheng Minjing to call him cousin. In a big family, they were all relatives more or less. It's cousin Minjing. Jean Baobao looked at the Panamera. However, when he saw Xiao Chen getting out of the car, he was extremely surprised. If it were before, he would not have felt anything wrong. But now, the Cheng family and the Xiao family had broken off the engagement, hadn't they? Why was Xiao Chen still Cheng Minjing's fiancé? Moreover, Beibei even called him cousin-in-law? This must be a very close relationship. Cousin, don't listen to Beibei's nonsense. There's nothing between me and Xiao Chen. She's just calling me that. Cheng Minjing hurriedly explained when she saw Jean Baobao's astonished expression. This all right. Jean Baobao scratched his head. He knew his sister's character, so he was not too surprised. He could only nod politely to Xiao Chen. Brother Xiao, welcome to the Jean family. Jean Baobao's friendliness surprised Xiao Chen. He didn't expect that Jean Baobao would still be so polite after he was kicked out of the Xiao family. Of course, Lu Zhiming, Yu Xiaochuan, and the others were also very polite, but Xiao Chen couldn't tell if they were really polite or not. Jean Baobao didn't have too much arrogance. He was just easygoing, not like the Jean family's weird people. It seemed that Jean Beibei was the only one who had inherited Master Jin's character. Brother Bao. Xiao Chen nodded to him. You're welcome. Please come in. I'll ask someone to serve you tea. Jean Baobao made a gesture of invitation. Brother, you're not needed here. You can go and ask Grandpa to come out. Jean Beibei said to Jean Baobao. Call Grandpa? Jean Baobao was slightly dazed. He looked at Jean Beibei in confusion. Well, although cousin Minjing and brother Xiao are both distinguished guests, it's not necessary for Grandpa to welcome them in person, is it? In Jean Baobao's opinion, it was a visit between the younger generation. How could the master of the family come out to welcome them? He dared not bother Master Jean for such a trivial matter. Even if he was not beaten, he would be scolded. Jean Baobao was quite scared. Brother, just go. Grandpa likes my brother-in-law very much. He even wants me to marry him. Chances are that he will be your brother-in-law in the future. As Jean Beibei spoke, she suddenly noticed that Cheng Minjing's face was not quite right. Therefore she hurried to say, he is my brother-in-law. However, after she finished her sentence, Cheng Minjing's face became even more awkward. Beibei, you are a girl. Don't always joke about such things. I used to be Xiao Chen's fiancé. It's fine if I joke about it. But you are going to get married in the future. What if people think that you have a bad reputation because you used to be in a relationship with Xiao Chen? In that case, I will have to be my brother-in-law's mistress. Jean Beibei said indifferently. Cheng Minjing felt that it was impossible to communicate with Jean Beibei. Jean Beibei's theory was infuriating. Although Jean Baobao did not quite believe what Jean Beibei said. Seeing that Jean Beibei was so confident, he simply nodded. He was going to tell his grandpa that Cheng Minjing and Xiao Chen had come. As for whether or not his grandpa would come out to welcome them, it would be his own business. After nodding, Jean Baobao quickly walked to the room where old Master Jean was cultivating. At this time, old Master Jean was always cultivating. At the door of the room, Jean Baobao knocked on the door carefully. Which little b** starred is knocking on the door? Don't you know that I cultivate every day at this time? Old Master Jin's angry voice came from the room. After a while, the door was opened with a clang. Jean Baobao stepped back subconsciously and looked at old Master Jean with a little fear. Jean Baobao, it's you. Old Master Jean widened his eyes and scolded. What's so important about you? If you can't tell me, I will hang you up and whip you today. Well, Grandpa Beibei is back. Jean Baobao said carefully. In the past, when old Master Jean was angry, as long as he mentioned Jean Beibei, everything would be fine. As expected, old Master Jin's face softened a little. He nodded and said, Beibei is back. What's the matter? Beibei came with cousin Minjing and brother Xiao Chen from the Xiao family. Jean Baobao said, What? Xiao Chen is here? Old Master Jin's face immediately showed a look of excitement and expectation. He quickly pushed Jean Baobao away and strode to the reception room. As he walked, he said, "You little B***starred. Why didn't you tell me that Xiao Chen is here?" Jean Baobao was a little speechless. Jean Bebe was right. Grandpa was so anxious and excited when he heard that Xiao Chen was here. However, Jean Baobao was also relieved after being scolded. Fortunately, he was not beaten. Thinking of this, he quickly followed them. As soon as Xiao Chen and Cheng Minjing sat down, Old Master Jin's voice came. "My little friend Xiao Chen, are you here to treat my illness today?" After the voice, Old Master Jin also walked in. "Grandpa Jin, I'm here today to treat your illness. I promised you before, so I must keep my promise." Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Here is a precious medicinal material. You can ask the servants to brew it for you. It will only take 3 hours." "Okay." Old Master Jin carefully took the bag that Xiao Chen handed over, and then handed it to Jean Baobao behind him. He said, "You go and brew it for 3 hours. Don't spoil it." "Yes, Grandpa." Jean Baobao was obviously a coolie in the Jin family. His treatment was completely different from Jean Bebe's. "Don't throw away the dregs after brewing. You can continue brewing it for about 20 times. They are all good medicines for treating injuries." This was what Elder Heaven Ancestor had told Xiao Chen. Therefore, Xiao Chen reminded him. Although it was only a small part of the dregs, it was bought by Xiao Chen with money. "Oh, it can be used so many times? How many times do I need to take it?" Old Master Jin was very surprised after hearing that. "Once for the target, and twice for the root cause." Xiao Chen stretched out 2 fingers and said, "2 times is enough." "That's amazing." Old Master Jin began to doubt whether what he said was true or not. If he didn't think that Xiao Chen would lie to him about such a thing, Old Master Jin would have thought that Xiao Chen was a swindler. After all, Old Master Jin had been to many hospitals. Although the Jin family was poor, they still had connections. Some big hospitals said that they couldn't do anything about it. How could Xiao Chen cure it? However, if Xiao Chen lied, it would not do him any good at all. Not only would he be hated by Jean Bebe, but he might also be driven out of the villa by Cheng Minjing. In that case, he would be shooting himself in the foot. Of course, I'm just estimating. If it doesn't work, I can drink it 3 or 4 times. Don't blame me, Old Master Jin. However, 3 or 4 times is definitely not a problem. Xiao Chen did not make any promises. After all, it was Elder Heaven Ancestor who said that twice. What if it was not accurate? *T, you damn brat. You don't believe me? Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice rang in Xiao Chen's ears. "Well, isn't this the first time that I practice medicine without a license? What if I fail?" Xiao Chen said with a wry smile. 3 or 4 times is fine too," Old Master Jin said. "Not to mention 3 or 4 times. Even if I drink it 20 times, it will be worth it. This medicine is very expensive." Xiao Chen had learned to be cunning. Now he was basically the public enemy of all the big families. In just a few days, apart from the Cheng family and the Xiao family, the Lu family, the Chao family, the Chen family, and the Qi family all had conflicts with him. Even Yu Xiaochuan of the Yu family was just using him. Now that he had Old Master Jin as his backer, it would be a waste not to rely on him. What Xiao Chen needed most now was time. If he could improve his strength, he wouldn't have to be afraid anymore. If it's really so effective, it must be expensive. Old Master Jin nodded. "My young friend Xiao Chen, our Jin family is poor. It seems that I can't afford the medical fees. How about I compensate you with Jean Bebe? Look, she is so cute and beautiful. You can take her home and play with her." "Puff ahem," Xiao Chen said with a wry smile. "Old Master Jin, I am Minjing's servant now. So, I don't need to pay you for treating your illness. It must be free of charge." Xiao Chen understood that Old Master Jin was also a shrewd man. If he gave him Jean Bebe, would he dare to play with her? Wouldn't he play himself to death? It was better to give him face. "Humph, of course. I don't think you dare to ask me for money," Cheng Minjing said proudly. "Haha, if you really cure this old man's injuries, then I, Golden Fur Lion King, will definitely not treat you badly." The reason why Old Master Jin didn't give Xiao Chen any promise was that he didn't believe that Xiao Chen could cure his injury with one medicine. Chapter 126. In his opinion, the possibility of Xiao Chun lying was not high. However, it was hard to say how effective it would be. It might be effective, but it would not be that effective. Thank you, Grandpa Jean. Xiao Chun did not think it was a big deal. 3 hours. Only a dozen minutes have passed. Let Bebe show you around the Jean family's courtyard. You can familiarize yourself with it. Come here often in the future, old Master Jean said. Okay. Xiao Chun had nothing to do anyway, so he nodded. It was not the first time for Cheng Minjing to come to the Jean family's residence. She used to come here when she was a child, so she couldn't be more familiar with the place. However, it was the first time for Xiao Chun to come here. Although the Jean family's residence was not very big, it had a rustic style. In the courtyard, various plants, vegetables, and fruits were planted everywhere. It could be seen that old Master Jean preferred the rustic style. Cousin-in-law, these cherries are delicious. Jean Bebe pointed at the cherries on the tree when they passed by a cherry tree. Really? I'm going to have a taste. Xiao Chun picked a few cherries casually and stuffed them into his mouth. It was impossible to use pesticides in the Jean family's residence, so he did not need to wash them. It's okay. It's just a little sour. Cousin-in-law, you didn't pick them well. This Bebe is experienced. As Jean Bebe spoke, she picked a big cherry from a cherry tree slightly further away and put it to Xiao Chun's mouth. Cousin-in-law, have a taste of Bebe's cherries. Xiao Chun was slightly stunned. Looking at the cherries in Jean Bebe's hand, and then at her breasts, he began to imagine. It would be great if Jean Bebe could give it to me to play with. Xiao Chun, what are you thinking about? Xiao Chun hurriedly put these messy thoughts aside and swallowed the cherries in Jean Bebe's hand. However, the cherries were much more delicious than those Xiao Chun had picked for himself. They were sweet and sour, very delicious. Bebe's cherries are still delicious. Xiao Chun nodded and said, right? Bebe said that Bebe's cherries are delicious. Jean Bebe nodded. Cheng Menjing was speechless at the disgusting actions of the two people in front of her. What kind of people are they? It wasn't easy for Jean Bebe to find someone like her. How did I get Xiao Chun back? He wasn't like this before. Or was the previous Xiao Chun in disguise? Or was the current Xiao Chun in disguise? Or was he schizophrenic? Oh my God, it's so scary. Cheng Minjing felt scared just thinking about it. However, on second thought, Xiao Chun had always been quite normal. Could it be that he had become a different person after experiencing a huge change? This was also the most reasonable explanation. Hey Xiao Chun, I want to eat too. Seeing that Xiao Chun and Jean Bebe were enjoying themselves, Cheng Minjing suddenly felt a little hungry. She ordered Xiao Chun. Okay. Imitating Jean Bebe, Xiao Chun went to the woods inside and picked some cherries. However, since they were for the First Lady, he could not do it so casually. Xiao Chun wiped the cherries carefully with his hands. However, when Xiao Chun rubbed the cherries back and forth with his hands, he instilled a bit of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into the cherries unnaturally. With Xiao Chun's capability, it was impossible for him not to leak any of his spiritual energy. However, Xiao Chun had not run into any other cultivators yet. Therefore, he did not need to worry that anyone would discover anything. Done. Imitating Jean Bebe, Xiao Chun raised the cherries to Cheng Minjing's mouth. Cheng Minjing was slightly dazed, but she still bit the cherries carefully and put them into her mouth. After living with Xiao Chun for a long time, Cheng Minjing's immunity to Xiao Chun had dropped. For example, Cheng Minjing could accept feeding her food now. Otherwise, if it were before, how could a guy feed her food in such a way? How intimate must they be? Cheng Minjing bit open the skin of the cherries, only to discover that the flesh of the cherries was fresh, juicy, and delicious. It was even more delicious than the cherries that she had eaten during her previous visits. Also, it was not only twice, but also 10 times, 100 times better. Cheng Minjing was quite surprised. Was it because the cherries were not ripe? But that was not right. The cherry tree had been here for many years. Cheng Minjing almost came here to eat cherries every year, but they were not as delicious as this. Cheng Minjing enjoyed the taste of the cherries very much. Wow, they are so lovey-dovey. Cousin Minjing, cousin-in-law fed you cherries. You are so intoxicated. Jean Bebe giggled and shouted. Oh! Chung Minjing blushed immediately. She was indeed intoxicated, but it was because the cherries were too delicious. How could it be that Xiao Chen fed her cherries? Chung Minjing hurriedly explained. Bebe, didn't you notice that the cherries today are especially delicious? Yes, cousin-in-law fed them. Of course they are delicious. Jean Bebe nodded. Chung Minjing glared at her, and was a little embarrassed. She said to Xiao Chen, Give them to me. I will eat them myself. It's nothing. Bebe likes to talk nonsense. Okay. Xiao Chen gave the remaining cherries to Chung Minjing. Chung Minjing picked one up eagerly. She wiped it with her hand, and put it into her mouth. But she frowned the moment she ate it. It didn't taste right. Although it couldn't be said that the cherries weren't delicious, they were worlds apart from the previous cherries. After eating the previous delicious cherries, this cherry was simply unappetizing. Chung Minjing swallowed it reluctantly. Then she picked up another one. However, it tasted even worse than before. Chung Minjing spat it out immediately, and ate another one. The result was not any better. It was not as delicious as before. That's not right. Why are they not as delicious as before? Chung Minjing looked at the cherries in her hand curiously. They all looked the same. Because cousin-in-law fed them just now. That's why they are delicious. Jean Bebe said with a smile. How is that possible? Do you think I'm as stupid as you? Do you think all the nutrition is stored in my chest? Chung Minjing naturally didn't believe Jean Bebe's explanation. As for Xiao Chen, he was also very puzzled. Could it be that the cherry had mutated? Chung Minjing ate a few more cherries. She didn't even have the courage to continue eating them. They were too disgusting. Are they so disgusting? Jean Bebe was also curious. She picked up a cherry in Chung Minjing's hand and put it into her mouth. But after she ate it, her expression was quite normal. They are the same. There is no difference from usual. Chung Minjing knew there was no difference. But the cherries just now were really delicious. Chung Minjing had never eaten such delicious cherries in her life. They are really different. Jean Bebe thought for a while and said, Well, maybe cousin-in-law made them more delicious for you. Well, Chung Minjing wanted to say that it was impossible. But after thinking for a while, she realized that this was the only difference. Therefore she decided to give it a try. Hey Xiao Chen, feed me another one. You are my servant. It's normal for you to serve me. Okay. Xiao Chen took back a cherry from the eldest Miss' hand, wiped it clean, and put it into her mouth. However, he was enjoying it very much in his heart. If this little cherry mouth ate something else, would it be even more enjoyable? And he was thinking too much again. What? After eating the cherry, Chung Minjing looked at Xiao Chen in shock. It was indeed different. That rare taste had returned. It was still as fresh and delicious as before, just like the cherry at the very beginning. After eating it, Chung Minjing said to Xiao Chen hurriedly, Xiao Chen, I want more. Xiao Chen picked up another one, wiped it clean, and fed it to the eldest Mississippi. He was a little puzzled. What's wrong with Chung Minjing today? Why does she like me feeding her cherries? Xiao Chen wouldn't believe that Chung Minjing liked him. Well, I want more. Don't stop. Go on. Chung Minjing shouted anxiously when she saw Xiao Chen stop after feeding her another one. Xiao Chen picked up another one, wiped it clean, and fed it to the eldest Mississippi. After eating it, the eldest Miss was a little unhappy. I told you not to stop. Hurry up. I want more. I want more. Xiao Chen took a deep breath. The eldest Miss's voice was very pleasant. Her words made his imagination run wild. However, he was just thinking about it. Wow, cousin Minjing, I didn't expect you to be such a bold and unrestrained girl. If I didn't know better, I would think that you were having sex with my cousin-in-law in the woods. Jean Bebe looked at Chung Minjing weirdly. You didn't mean to seduce my cousin-in-law, did you? Otherwise, why did he feed you so delicious? Why did you make such an alluring sound? You, Bebe, you can try it if you don't believe me. Chung Minjing blushed and did not know how to explain. However, she would know how delicious it was if she asked Xiao Chen to feed her one. Hee. I'll give it a try and see how delicious my cousin-in-law is. Jean Bebe nodded with a smile. Before, my cousin-in-law was feeding me very delicious too. Jean Bebe was teasing Chung Minjing when a cherry entered her mouth. She was more or less dumbfounded. Did such delicious cherries grow on her own cherry tree? It must be noted that Jean Bebe had been eating cherries since she was a little girl. She knew very well what they tasted like. But the taste in her mouth today had completely overturned her memory. Looking at Jean Bebe's shocked face, Chung Minjing was rather proud. How about it? I was right, wasn't I? Was what Xiaochen fed you different? It's impossible. It's impossible. How could it be? It doesn't make sense. Jean Bebe, however, shook her head. Right. It must be because Bebe likes my cousin-in-law. That's why there is a bonus of mental enjoyment. Cousin Minjing likes my cousin-in-law too. That's right. That must be it. However, why does Bebe and my cousin like the same man? What should I do? Pooh. Chung Minjing glared at Jean Bebe, somewhat lost for words. Hey Bebe, are you alright? What bonus of mental enjoyment? It's impossible for me to like him. I don't have any bonus. Delicious means delicious. Chapter 127. Jean Bebe shook her head and said, That's right. Even if there is a bonus, it can't be that delicious. When my cousin-in-law fed Bebe lobsters and abalones before, there was not such a big difference. There was only a little bonus. Looking at Jean Bebe, Chung Minjing suddenly asked, Bebe, it seems that you like Xiaochen, don't you? Well, I just think that my cousin-in-law is not bad. I don't really like him, Jean Bebe said in a hurry. All right. It's been almost 2 hours. Let's go back. Chung Minjing had eaten a lot of cherries and was almost done. Even the most delicious food could not be eaten all the time. Oh, but I haven't had enough yet. Cousin Minjing was the one eating all the cherries before. Jean Bebe said, somewhat wronged. This cherry tree belongs to your family. You can eat it whenever you want. Do you have to eat it now? Chung Minjing said angrily. That's different. My cousin-in-law is not always here. Jean Bebe said, somewhat wronged. You ate so many just now, and I only had one, okay? Well, Chung Minjing was somewhat puzzled too. Why was the cherries fed by Xiaochen so delicious? Did Xiaochen have some magical energy on his hands? She thought for a moment and found it unlikely. Therefore she said, You are just imagining things. Cousin Minjing is so mean. You are such a bully. It's obviously different. Jean Bebe felt even more wronged. All right. Xiaochen, go and pick some cherries. Then let's go back. You can feed Bebe on the way back. Chung Minjing said helplessly. Okay. Jean Bebe was delighted again. Xiaochen picked some cherries. Then he fed Jean Bebe on the way back. Jean Bebe was enjoying the cherries very much. The three of them returned to the living room. When old Master Jean saw Xiaochen feeding Jean Bebe cherries, he also widened his eyes and became more certain that his granddaughter must be interested in Xiaochen. Otherwise, how could she be so obedient and let Xiaochen feed her cherries? At this time, Jean Baobao walked in with the decocted medicine. When he saw Xiaochen and his sister, he was shocked. Jean Bebe's marriage had always been a headache for the Jean family. Firstly, how many of them would really dare to ask for Jean Bebe's hand? Secondly, Jean Bebe herself would not agree. If it was an ordinary family, who could stand Jean Bebe's anger? On the other hand, Jean Bebe would feel wronged if she married an ordinary person. Would she be willing to do that? Therefore, the matter had been put aside for the time being. Seeing that Jean Bebe and Xiaochen were so close to each other, Jean Baobao finally understood why his grandpa trusted and valued Xiaochen so much. So he wanted to choose a grandson-in-law. Otherwise, he would not be afraid that something would go wrong if he brewed the dregs of the medicine. Delicious. 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 Jean Bebe was enjoying the cherries. Old Master Jean, on the other hand, shook his head with a smile. The cherries belonged to the Jean family. Jean Bebe ate them all the time, but she had never enjoyed them so much. It seemed that this Xiaochen was not an ordinary person. Bebe, are the cherries so delicious? All right, let's eat them later. Ask Xiaochen to come here and teach Grandpa how to take the medicine. Old Master Jean said to Jean Bebe. Okay. Jean Bebe nodded reluctantly and said, Cousin-in-law, give all the cherries to Bebe. Bebe can eat them herself. Okay. Xiaochen put the remaining cherries in Jean Beibei's hand. Then he took the medicine from Jean Baobao and sniffed it. Although the smell was not as strong as before, it should still be good. Therefore he said, "Grandpa Jean, you can drink it in one go later. Then, go to the yard and practice a set of martial arts. That will be enough." Okay. Old Master Jean took the medicine and drank it all up. Originally, Old Master Jean did not have much hope. He treated Xiaochen well because of his granddaughter Jean Beibei. However, after he drank the medicine, he felt that something was wrong. A stream of warmth immediately spread from his abdomen to his whole body. The heat made him feel that his blood was boiling, and his energy was vigorous. It seemed that he would feel uncomfortable if he did not use the strength in his body. He hurried to walk out of the parlor and went outside. Then he started to exercise quickly. Jean Beibei ate a cherry, but she spat it out as soon as she swallowed it. It tasted terrible. It was not the same taste at all. Jean Beibei's father, Jean Zonghai, was the second son of the Jean family. Currently, he ran several stores in Songming City. However, he did not have the core production technology and sold the products of others. Therefore, the profit was very limited. Every year, he could barely maintain the operation of the Jean family. It was impossible for him to expand the Jean family. He mainly controlled a few chain noodle restaurants, a few chain pharmacies, and a few chain clothing stores. Currently, he was the agent of the products of other companies. As soon as he got home, he heard the sound of martial arts training in the yard. When he walked closer, he was stunned. "Isn't that my father?" "Dad, what are you?" Jean Zonghai looked at golden-haired Lion King in confusion. Old Master Jean had his own training room. Normally, he would not practice in the yard of the villa, let alone at the door of the parlor. However, he was different today. Haha. Comfortable. So comfortable. I haven't felt so comfortable for many years. The golden fur Lion King laughed out loud as he punched. Although the injury on his waist was burning hot, it was especially comfortable. It was like cupping, painful and happy at the same time. Question mark. Jean Zonghai's eyes widened. "Dad, what are you doing?" "Ha ha ha. You have a good daughter, and brought home a good grandson-in-law. Ha ha ha. That's great. It's so comfortable. It's so cool." Old Master Jean laughed and waved his hands. What? Jean Zonghai was stunned. What does he mean by having a good daughter and bringing home a good grandson-in-law? Who is he talking about? However, Jean Zonghai only has one daughter. Is he talking about Jean Beibei? Does Beibei have a boyfriend? Jean Zonghai's voice attracted Jean Baobao, Jean Beibei, Cheng Minjing, and Xiaochen. Then, they saw Jean Zonghai coming back. Second uncle. Cheng Minjing hurried to greet Jean Zonghai when she saw him. Cheng Minjing's mother was Jean Beibei's first aunt, and Jean Beibei's mother was Cheng Minjing's second aunt. Both of them were members of the Zhu family. "Oh, Minjing is here." Jean Zonghai nodded. Then he fixed his eyes on Xiaochen, which surprised him a bit. Old Master Jean said that Jean Beibei came back with her boyfriend. However, Xiaochen was the only outsider here. He couldn't be Jean Baobao, could he? Therefore, it could only be Xiaochen. However, Jean Zonghai knew Xiaochen. He knew that he was the useless young master of the Xiao family, and used to be Cheng Minjing's fiancé. Since Jean Zonghai was more or less related to Cheng Minjing, he paid close attention to their affairs. However, according to Old Master Jean, Xiaochen was Beibei's boyfriend? This Jean Zonghai was not a traditional and conservative person. In particular, Jean Beibei was favored by Old Master Jean. Therefore, Jean Zonghai did not have many requirements when it came to choosing a partner. However, if she chose Xiaochen, their relationship would be a bit messy. How awkward would it be between her and Cheng Minjing in the future? However, why was Cheng Minjing here? It was so hard to understand the world of young people. "Hello, second Uncle Jean." Xiaochen nodded politely. "Xiaochen is here. Welcome, welcome." Jean Zonghai said politely. Like Jean Baobao, he was not a big shot in the family. Therefore, he had no right to show off here. In the Jean family, where Old Master Jean acted arbitrarily, no one dared to do anything in front of Old Master Jean. Otherwise, they would be asking for a beating. Ho! At this moment, Old Master Jean suddenly shouted. Then, he let out a long breath and said with a relaxed expression, good medicine. It's a miraculous medicine. Xiaochen, you are very good. Wait for me to take a shower. After saying that, Old Master Jean quickly left under everyone's surprised gaze. After Old Master Jean left, Jean Zonghai looked at Jean Bebe and asked, Bebe, what's going on? Oh, my cousin-in-law is here to treat Grandpa. Look at Grandpa now. He must have cured him. Jean Bebe said proudly, as if she was the one who treated Grandpa. How is it? My cousin-in-law is awesome, isn't he? Cousin-in-law? Treat him? Jean Zonghai was stunned for a moment before he realized who this cousin-in-law was. However, didn't they say that Xiaochen was Bebe's boyfriend now? Why was he still her cousin-in-law? Could it be that Xiaochen and Cheng Minjing had come back from the ashes, and Jean Bebe was the mistress? It was so messy that he felt that he could not think clearly enough. However, although he found it hard to accept the mistress, Old Master Jean was in charge of this matter. It was not up to him to say anything, therefore he did not bother about it. Yes, my cousin-in-law is awesome. He saw through Grandpa's illness at first glance. Then Grandpa invited him to treat him. Jean Bebe explained. What? Jean Zonghai turned around in shock and looked at Xiaochen. Xiaochen, even I don't know where father's injuries are. And you can see through them? It's just an accident. Xiaochen smiled. I was born to be useless. I only wanted to see if there was a way to change my body constitution. Therefore, I did some research on the medical arts. That's not all. My cousin-in-law is awesome in other aspects too. He is not useless at all but a genius. Just like Bebe. Jean Bebe said. Jean Zonghai nodded. He had never seen Jean Bebe praise a man. So to speak, his father's words had some basis. Was there anything between Bebe and Xiaochen? Then, thank you very much, Mr. Xiao. If father's injuries are cured, you will be the benefactor of the Jean family. Jean Zonghai's way of addressing Xiaochen, and his tone suddenly changed. If Old Master's injuries were really cured, his capability would definitely soar. It would be a blessing for the Jean family. Chapter 128. You're welcome. When Xiaochen was about to say that it was nothing, Cheng Minjing spoke first. Humph. Second uncle, you don't have to thank him. He is just my servant. If I ask him to go east, he doesn't dare to go west. If I ask him to beat a dog, he doesn't dare to catch a chicken. Cheng Minjing put her hands on her waist, somewhat complacent. It was rare to have such an awesome servant. Even she felt that she was awesome. Yes, second Uncle Jean. I'm just a servant of the eldest Mississippi. Just tell me if you need anything. Xiaochen said with a smile. He found the eldest Miss's appearance indescribably cute. Why didn't he notice it before? Oh, ha 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 ha, so the legend is true. Xiaochen is going to be your servant, Minjing. Jean Zonghai smiled. However, you have to thank him. I don't care about the relationship between you two. Brother-in-law, I want you to feed me cherries again. Jean Bebe had just eaten an awful cherry, and she wanted Xiaochen to feed her again. Oh, okay. Xiaochen took the cherry, wiped it, and put it into Jean Bebe's mouth. Delicious. Delicious. Jean Bebe finally ate delicious cherries again. It was definitely not an illusion. Seeing that she ate several cherries in a row, Cheng Minjing was also drooling. So she said, Xiaochen, I want some too. Oh, okay. Xiaochen picked up another cherry, wiped it, and fed it to the eldest Mississippi. Therefore, the two of them ate the cherries that Xiaochen fed them, one on the left, and the other on the right. Jean Zonghai was dumbfounded. Damn it. Are sisters fighting for favor? Xiaochen doesn't look like a servant at all. He couldn't help but believe old Master Jin's words. Of course, he could never imagine that it was a very simple thing. It was only because the cherries that Xiaochen fed her were delicious. Jean Baobao was also a little dumbfounded. Previously, he didn't have much interaction with Xiaochen. He only heard that Xiaochen was an arrogant hedonistic young master. But today, it seemed that it was completely different. Moreover, he was even able to subdue such a mischievous younger sister. This was not something that an ordinary person could do. It was impossible for him to gain Jean Bebe's admiration without real ability. Jean Bebe was no fool. Very soon, the cherries in Xiaochen's hands were all eaten up by the eldest Miss and Jean Bebe. The two of them were still not satisfied. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chun was about to pick more cherries when he heard Master Jin's excited laughter. All right, I'm completely healed. There is no abnormality at all. My inner force can flow through my entire body without any obstruction. Old Master Jin strode into the living room. When he saw Xiao Chun, he gave him a big bear hug. Well, Xiao Chun was almost strangled to death by Old Master Jin. He coughed and said with a bitter smile, "That's great. The next medicine is to cure the root cause. You must take it on time." My young friend Xiao Chun, I didn't know that your expertise in medical arts has far exceeded that in martial arts. As he said that, Old Master Jin could not help but put on a disdainful expression. I don't know what Old Chung and Old Xiao are thinking. They are truly two super idiots. How stupid would they be to turn down such a great-grandson and grandson-in-law? Their brains must have been damaged after too much training, haven't they? Although Old Master's words were crude, they were not unreasonable. However, Xiao Chen's grandpa and Cheng Minjing's grandpa both felt somewhat embarrassed when he said those words. To be honest, Xiao Chen's grandpa still loved Xiao Chen very much when he was young. In recent years, he was more strict with him because of his inner force. Therefore, Xiao Chen did not particularly bear a grudge against him. My young friend Xiao Chen, I just said that if you cure my illness, I will give you a Jin Bebe. How about it? Old Master Jin looked at Xiao Chun with a smile. He was just joking before, but now it could be said that he was sincere. With Xiao Chen's medical arts, the Jin family might become the top aristocratic family in Songning City. Moreover, it was not impossible for them to rush to the entire Xia kingdom. As long as he opened a martial arts medical center, he would gain both fame and fortune. Grandpa Jin, don't joke. How can I give it to you? Xiao Chun was stunned. Xiao Chun could still distinguish the affirmative tone in Old Master Jin's reply. It was completely different from the previous joke. Hehe, as I said last time, if the Xiao family doesn't want you, our Jin family can take you. How about you marry into our Jin family? Although Old Master Jin was an uncouth man, he actually understood that rare goods were worth hoarding. Only when Xiao Chun was a member of the Jin family, he could help the Jin family with all his strength. Well, forget it. I am now only Minjing's servant. Even if I am not good enough, she is used to using me. I can't just leave casually. Xiao Chun saw Old Master Jin's sincerity. However, this matter was not a small matter. If Xiao Chun really married into the Jin family, he would lose face. Suddenly being valued by the Jin family would not conform to his original intention of low-key investigation of the real culprit behind the scenes. Humph, you have a conscience. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, Cheng Minjing was very satisfied. I have treated you well. If you drive me away, I will never talk to you again. Hehe. Xiao Chen felt a little funny. After talking for a long time, her punishment was to never talk to him again? Old Master Jin glanced at Cheng Minjing with interest, and then looked at Jin Beibei. He nodded thoughtfully and said, "Since you haven't made up your mind, let's not talk about this now. Let's talk about it later. However, I am still very grateful to you, Xiao Chun." Old Master Jin could see that the relationship between the three of them was a little strange. He could not rush it, and could only take one step at a time. "Grandpa Jin, since you have recovered from your injury, it's time for me to leave. It's very late, and I have to go to school tomorrow." Xiao Chun nodded at Old Master Jin. As for gratitude, he did not think too much about it. The reason why he helped Old Master Jin, in the first place, was because of his mistress and Jin Beibei. "You're right. It's getting late. Why don't you stay at the Jin family's place for the night? Minjing often stays here. And Xiao Chun, we have enough guest rooms here," Old Master Jin said. "That's not necessary." Xiao Chun was still boiling medicine in the electric pot. He had to go back. Cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. If one did not move forward, one would fall behind. If Xiao Chun wanted to gain strength as soon as possible, he could not waste any day. Cheng Minjing pursed her lips. She was about to agree because she wanted to eat cherries. But Xiao Chun insisted on leaving. She was a little unhappy. "Hey Xiao Chun, I want you to stay here." "Minjing, I'm still boiling medicine at home. Xiaochen said honestly. Ah, I see. Let's go back then. Cheng Menjing was not an insensible girl. Hearing that Xiaochen still wanted to take medicine, she naturally did not insist. Compared with gluttony, Xiaochen's internal strength was more important. Old Master Jin looked at Cheng Menjing strangely again. He also realized that Xiaochen listened to Cheng Menjing when it came to small things. However, when it came to big things, Cheng Menjing still listened to Xiaochen. Was this a servant relationship? It was really weird. Could it be that Cheng Menjing also liked Xiaochen? In that case, Beibei did not have an advantage in the competition. No, what if old Master Chen got ahead of me? What should I do? Seeing that Xiaochen wanted to go back to take medicine, old Master Jin could not force him to stay. He could only say, "Okay, but I will ask Jin Baobao to send the dregs back to you." Although old Master Jin was very reluctant to give up the dregs, this thing belonged to Xiaochen. He could not be greedy. He was going to get along with Xiaochen for a long time. He did not want to take advantage of him temporarily. That's not necessary. Just leave it here. In the future, whoever has an old injury in his body can also take it. Xiaochen waved his hand and did old Master Jin a favor. Besides, the dregs were only 1/5 of the medicine that Xiaochen had used. Xiaochen did not care about it at all. He just did not show it on the surface. In that case, I won't be polite. Old Master Jin nodded happily after hearing it. He thought that this kid was really smart. It seemed that he also liked Beibei a little. Otherwise, how could he be so generous? Thinking of that, old Master Jin was greatly reassured. Then we'll take our leave now. Right, you'd better keep the fact that I treated your injury a secret. Xiaochen did not want his peaceful life to be disrupted. Of course, rest assured, my young friend Xiaochen, I won't tell anyone even if you beat me to death. Old Master Jin patted his chest and promised. That was exactly what he wanted. If everybody knew about it, it would not be a rare commodity. He did not want to tell anybody yet. It would be great if Jin Beibei could keep Xiaochen for herself secretly. Xiaochen nodded and left with the eldest lady. Jin Beibei, however, was somewhat reluctant to leave. She wanted to follow them, but she did not have a good reason to do so. She could only wave goodbye to them. Before they left, she said, "Cousin-in-law, you can drive the Porsche 991 away. Beibei still prefers Jin Beibei's car." Okay. Xiaochen nodded. It was too late. It was unrealistic for him and the eldest lady to go back on foot. Xiaochen and Cheng Menjing walked to the parking lot and got into Chen Jinping's Porsche 991 that Jin Beibei had just tricked. Sitting in the driver's seat of the car, Xiaochen had a lot of mixed feelings. He used to have such a car, but it was an old 911, and 991 was the code name of the new 911. Xiaochen did not expect that he would be driving a sports car again after being kicked out of the Xiao family. Living in a villa every day, flirting with girls. It seemed that she was even more awesome than before as an honorable guest of the Jin family. It was not until this moment that Xiaochen finally understood why the protagonists in so many novels and TV shows were all good-for-nothings. It turned out that they were the most awesome. Hey, why did the cherries you fed me taste so good? After getting in the car, Cheng Menjing could not help but ask. This was something that she could not understand no matter how hard she thought about it. She asked herself if she was that love-struck. What kind of mental boost would there be? Besides, Xiaochen was not her boyfriend, so what was the boost? You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.